parade route. Keep your eyes in the skies for World War II era craft like the Mitchell medium bomber, the P-51 Mustang fighter, and the C-47 Skytrain transporter. But why would Air Forces be in the Army parade? Because they were part of the United States.
And welcome to NTD's special coverage of the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary parade. You're looking live right now at Constitution Avenue in our nation's capital. Parade's scheduled to kick off in a little over an hour. We're expecting remarks from President Donald J. Trump, musical performances, and fireworks. A really exciting evening ahead of us.
That's right, Steve. Festivities kicked off this morning on the National Mall to celebrate the men and women who fought to protect our country and our freedoms. The last major military parade to happen here in Washington, D.C. was in 1991, marking the American and Allied forces' victory in the first Gulf War.
The city has been preparing for weeks, fortifying the roads, getting military assets into place, and putting up security fencing. Thousands of law enforcement officers flown in to help secure today's celebration, which coincides with President Trump's birthday. And NTD will be following the entire event from start to finish.
And we have a lot to cover tonight. But first, let's go to NTD's Paul Graney. He's in the parade viewing area where people have already been gathering since early this afternoon. Paul, what's it like over there right now on Constitution Avenue?
That's right. We're here on Constitution Avenue where everyone we've spoken with is eagerly waiting the start of the parade. If you can't tell, it's kind of hot here today. We are delighted to be joined by retired Colonel Darren Gobb. He served in the Army as a Black Hawk helicopter pilot and a battalion commander, and he's also a respected geopolitical strategist. Colonel Gobb, thanks so much for coming.
Thanks, Paul. What a pleasure to be here. I mean, you've heard about the thousands of people who said they were going to come, and they're here. There are many thousands of them. They're continuing to come. You can hear the festive environment behind us. People are excited, and even though many have heard the forecasts and said, hey, we think there might be some rain, that's not stopping anybody.
That's right. Darren, you served in the Army for almost 30 years. How do you feel on a day like today?
Well, today's a significant day, absolutely. It's worth celebrating this country. And it's worth celebrating the Army because the Army is a representation of what this nation is and everything that we fought for since its inception. So I'm excited to be here. It's a little bit more humid than my taste from Montana, but I'll be all right. I'm just excited to see all these people here who are thrilled to be here and just to celebrate an Army birthday, a Flag Day, and the principles that both of those stand for.
Tell us about the message that this parade is sending, not just to the American people, but perhaps around the world.
Well, America is still America. We love to get together. We love to celebrate our country. We know what truth, liberty, and freedom are. We want to come together and make sure that basically we have a giant party in recognition of that most important of birthdays. And people here are wearing everything you can possibly imagine, showing their patriotism. And the Army is a reflection of American culture and American society. And the people here are here to recognize that.
Colonel, you've either flown or driven most of the heavy equipment that we're going to see here in the parade. Talk to us about the impact that equipment has had, not just on American forces, but on our allies around the world.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my aircraft that I flew was a Black Hawk helicopter. When you see that flying by and it looks good for now, that aircraft is in multiple nations like Australia and others who have recognized that America makes a very superior quality of equipment for its military. So the Black Hawk is one example, the Chinook helicopter is another, the tank that's inspired the German Leopard, the British Centurion, the Israeli Merkava, and others. It all started here in America, where it should start.
We spoke yesterday, we were looking at the forecast, we thought it was a little bit overcast. What do you think of the chances of all of the equipment getting a fly out today?
Well, from what I'm seeing right now and the fact that I can look above your shoulder and see a helicopter up probably around 2,000 feet or so, right now it's looking pretty good, and I anticipate they're going to be able to fly unless something drastically changes. But people are going to get a show here, and I can't wait for them to see every bit of it, ground and air.
How about the people that are always in our memories? We're always thinking about MIA, POW.
Right.
How about saying a word to that today?
We should never forget those who are still missing By the way, the Army still has an office where they are focused and dedicated on finding them and recovering them regardless of which war they were in. That happens right here in the Pentagon, and it needs to continue until we recover every single American from every battlefield around the world. That's important. Also, just across the way here in Arlington, Virginia, of course, my first duty assignment in the Army, 3rd U.S. Infantry, the Old Guard, lies Arlington Cemetery. And that's a testament to how much people believe in the freedom and liberty this nation stands for.
Darren, Colonel, we have about 30 seconds. Talk about the impact that this parade may have on recruitment for the Army.
Well, we've seen a drastic upturn in recruiting. In fact, you probably saw the reports this morning that the Army met its goals months early. And that's a testament to many things. But it's important for people here to see the equipment, the soldiers, everything that represents the Army and the military in general, and understand that that's a representation of America, and the military can't happen without Americans willing to serve.
Colonel Bob, thank you so much. We're going to come straight back to you. Right now, we're going to go back to the studio.
All right, Paul, thanks for braving the heat out there with Colonel Gobb, and we'll be checking back in with you again later in the show. There's still a lot more to come this evening, but the celebration kicked off early this morning. Crowds gathered on the National Mall to get an up-close look at the Army's combat gear.
Yeah, Tiff, and service members tell NTD the value of bridge building within the community, leaving Americans with a better sense of knowledge and pride for the men and women protecting our nation in uniform. NTD's Melina Wisecup tells us more.
Thousands of patriotic Americans lined the National Mall to join morning festivities as service members brought U.S. Army pride to the nation's capital.
Happy birthday, Army!
That's a big milestone. It's really big. So to be able to see how far we've come from where we used to be as a military to where we are today, it's 100% worth the celebration.
Bright and early, servicemen showcased their strength with an Army fitness competition. The kids got some training of their own with climbing and rock walls.
It was just a sea of service members in their ACUs and their uniforms, and it was just really, really cool to see how many people serve and just be able to recognize them for their time. And
folks got a chance to interact with soldiers, Army astronauts, NFL representatives, and Medal of Honor recipients.
When you walk around and meet all the soldiers out here, we all come from different walks of life, all very different backgrounds, and so coming out here showing that we have a shared purpose and common goal is just really great, and seeing the team out here putting their best foot forward and just showing the public what we have to offer makes me really proud.
Army members emphasized the importance of bringing their hard work behind the scenes into the light, inspiring and instilling the next generation with the pride that comes with protecting our nation.
I hope that maybe people are a little bit more confident in the Army.
A sentiment echoed by an Iraq veteran who brought his family along to soak in the festivities.
To celebrate this on the 250th anniversary is pretty significant for me and from my friends, my fellow soldiers that I was in Iraq with.
And people here at the festival get a unique opportunity of getting up close and personal with this military equipment.
I came in, I saw helicopters, I wanted to go over there. I saw a bunch of infantrymen on the way. And then I met this special forces guy from my hotel on the way here, and he gave me a challenge going. And then that was really exciting.
Helicopters, military firearms, grenade launchers, and a military howitzer, all on display for engaging opportunities to learn what it's like to handle gear that's used on the battlefield.
There's so many things. There's over 250 jobs. And it can be great opportunities for you. You can get college out of it. You meet best friends I've ever had are all from the Army. Just how awesome of an opportunity it can be.
Those at the event emphasized the importance of recognizing and respecting the role the U.S. Army plays in protecting our freedoms here at home.
Everyone should be here. It doesn't matter if Trump or Kamala, whoever you voted for, I feel everyone should be here to support our troops because they're the reasons why we have our freedoms.
But if you see some of the faces here, I mean, they're the age of my kids and some of them grandkids, in fact, and I see their heart and their love. Gonna tear up. Love for this nation, so I appreciate it.
After the festival, tanks and thousands of soldiers will march through the streets of Washington, D.C. The parade will start at 6:30 this evening, right next to the Lincoln Memorial. They'll head down Constitution Avenue toward the Vietnam Veterans Memorial and pass by the Constitution Gardens. The parade will then cut through the National Mall between the Ellipse and Washington Monument before ending near the National Museum of African American History and Culture. Helicopters and warplanes will fly overhead. Some 200,000 people are expected to attend. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Melina Weisskopf, NTD News.
What a fascinating look there, Tiffany, of how the parade is really serving the purpose to inspire the next generation of service members, as well as, you know, young and old, really.
Really is. You really felt the love for this country and especially the service members who protect our freedoms.
Indeed. We're also joined right now in studio here with our guests. We have with us a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Chuck DeVore. He's the Chief National Initiatives Officer at the Texas Public Policy Foundation. And we're also joined by former President Trump attorney Christina Bobb. She began her legal career in the United States Marine Corps. And it's great to have you both here with us. It's really an honor to have you both, Chuck. Right now, let's talk about the heavy artillery weaponry that we're seeing out there. A lot of the cool toys, as you might say. More than a dozen M1 Abrams tanks are out there. Some 6,600 soldiers right now getting ready in place. What does this parade mean for not just Americans, but also for Army veterans such as yourself?
Well, first of all, it's been way too long since we've had a celebration like this. I mean, 1991, really? I mean, come on. Show us some love every now and then. This is the 250th anniversary of the founding of the Army. It's the Army's 250th birthday. The Army was created before we even had a nation. It was created some 13 months before we declared our independence. And if it wasn't for the Army, of course, we'd probably still be a colony of England, right? Imagine how history would have been different. So for me, this is something that Americans should celebrate. Every single person in the armed forces today is a volunteer. They have taken an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And that means something, right? They're putting their lives on the line voluntarily. It doesn't matter who the commander-in-chief is. They're serving America. And so when I see a parade like that, I know that, you know, having been a soldier for some 24 years, I know that most of the soldiers are pretty excited about it, and they're going to look back and think it's cool. There'll be a few, you know, wisecracking, like, why are we here, you know, and could have had a, you know, better weekend, you know, taken some time off or something. But the vast majority of them are absolutely thrilled to be here, and I think it's going to be a real patriotic display.
Actually, Christina, before we dive into today's shows, I want to congratulate you on your new book that's available for pre-order, Defiant, Inside the Mar-a-Lago Raid and the Left's Ongoing Lawfare. The president actually wrote the foreword to that, so very exciting.
Thank you. I'm very excited for it to come out.
And then, you know, stepping back a little bit, as a Marine, how are you viewing today's festivities?
We can be friends on birthdays. I support the Army. In military tradition, birthdays are very, very important. I know in the Marine Corps, our birthday, November 10th, is hammered into us, and it's something we take great pride in. And so it's fun to join my soldier brethren out here today to celebrate the Army's 250th birthday. And I think it's great. I know how important it is. I know how much service members are proud of their birthday. So I think it's great to kind of bring the entire nation in to get to join in those festivities. Because the Army celebrates it every year. You know, and the Marine Corps celebrates it every year. And we take pride in our history, like internally every year, so it's fun to kind of invite the public to celebrate that as well.
Now, of course, we heard from on the ground people who are attending this, the excitement and the love for this country, but we are also hearing reports of protests across the nation, of course, following the riots or earlier unrest in Los Angeles. Given that, how are you viewing the parade today and what message that sends to Americans?
I think it's a message of strength, and I very much appreciate President Trump's determination to have the parade, because it is fun. You know, you see the people out on the mall and they're interacting with the static displays of the equipment and getting to participate with some of the soldiers out there today and just really enjoying the fun. You see the kids light up saying, oh, I got a challenge coin. You know, that's really fun. And it's a fun, lighthearted, proud way to remind everybody of our strength. and especially for those people who are protesting, you can say, oh yeah, okay, but just remember what we've got. Not that I'm saying anything needs to be used, but it's just a reminder of where we're at as a nation, and that our entire military, the Army, Marine Corps, all of the branches, it's all volunteer, and it's huge, it's massive. So the fact that we have so many people who voluntarily signed up to be a part of the military, I think it's important to celebrate it today and make everybody watch.
Speaking of strength, Christina, President Trump often talks about peace through strength. Right now, we're obviously in a very volatile place in terms of not our nation, but the world right now,
Right.
on edge with what we see in the Middle East. What message do you think this display of American might and military strength sends to our adversaries, particularly Iran and China?
I think, President Trump is the master, right? Master of the art of the deal, and he's got several deals that he's negotiating with peace-wise around the world at the moment. And I think this is part of it, to just let the world watch us celebrate ourselves and say, we're proud of who we are, we're proud of our military, we're proud of how strong we are, and we're not afraid to take anybody on. We don't want to take anybody on. We want this to be a fun, family-friendly celebration, but if you mess with us, we will. And I hope that's the message that the enemy is taking right now.
And on that note, Chuck, you mentioned how it's been too long since the last time we had the celebration, right? 1991. Now, what do you make of the timing of today's parade, given Trump's current foreign policy priorities?
Well, it's kind of serendipitous, right? I mean, we knew that the president wanted to do this. This is a lead-in to the 250th anniversary of the nation next year. So you might just call this an opening act to what will be, I think, a string of patriotic festivities. But from a geostrategic standpoint, I think the timing is pretty propitious, because when you look at the fact that you have a lot of unrest around the world, and then you have this magnificent display of American unity and strength that will be broadcast all over the world, I think that that's a good thing, not a bad thing, because wars will sometimes happen when potential enemies sense a weakness, and this projects strength, and I would rather have peace through strength than war through weakness.
Of course, we have a lot more to get through tonight, a lot of festivities ahead. But in just a minute, NTD's Kevin Hogan will walk us through the major moments in the Army's 250 years of history. Stay with us for that and much more when we come back.
What if you could whiten your teeth by simply brushing your teeth? Now you can with Smile Actives, the teeth whitening breakthrough that safely gets your teeth white and keeps them white every day, just by brushing your teeth.
I never thought that whitening my teeth could be so easy. I just put the gel on the brush, the toothpaste on it, brush, and I can see my white teeth.
Simply add Smile Actives to any toothpaste, and our patented PolyClean technology activates into a powerful microfoam that penetrates into the enamel surface to safely lift and remove stains.
You need a simple way to whiten your teeth, without strips, without trays, without going to the dentist. And it was about time that a product was developed that you would be able to do that with just brushing.
And now Smile Actives is even better with new Pro Whitening Gel with 33% greater whitening power, clinically shown to whiten teeth faster, up to 8 shades. 100% of users saw whiter teeth. On food stains, coffee and wine stains, even on veneers, crowns, and dentures.
I eat the blueberries, I drink the coffee, and I know that Smile Actives will keep my teeth white every day.
If you could use something so easy like Smile Actives to take yellow teeth to white teeth, why wouldn't you?
Why spend hundreds of dollars for whitening treatments at the dentist when now you can whiten your teeth with new Smile Actives Pro Whitening Gel every time you brush your teeth? Call or go to smileactives.com, and for a limited time, get new Pro Whitening Gel for just $24.95. Order in the next 5 minutes and buy one, get one absolutely free for just $24.95. That's 2 for 1 and save 58%. We'll even include free shipping. Get your teeth whiter guaranteed, or return it within 60 days for your money back.
I smile every day now.
The difference is literally night and day.
So now I'm always smiling, always choosing, because now my teeth are much whiter.
This offer is not available in stores, so call or click now before the special buy one, get one free offer goes away.
And we are less than an hour away from the Army's 250th anniversary parade, the first one to take place right here in D.C. since 1991. You're looking live right at Constitution Ave, where the parade is set to begin. And over the years, the Army has actually played a key role in defining the will, character, and spirit of our great nation. NTD's Kevin Hogan and Tiffany Meyer put this into perspective for us with a special segment on the valor and honor of this foundational force.
The U.S. Army, from colonial patriots to modern warriors, has defended liberty at home and abroad for 250 years.
Its legacy is built on valor and honor.
Kevin, let's march through this proud history, starting with independence from Great Britain.
Yeah, it was 1775 when the Continental Army was born and the Revolutionary War started. The British had the most powerful army in the world. They had warm cottages in cities, whereas the Americans, many of them were just volunteer troops and some just farmers, and they were camped out in hand-built huts in the woods and during brutal winters, but they won, and that's because they had the grit and tactical resilience. They believed in the cause of liberty, and it was this man, George Washington, the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army, that led Americans to decisive victory. Here he's famously seen crossing the Delaware River, and it was that courage and bravery that would define the service in the centuries that followed, Tiff.
And then comes, of course, the War of 1812, which inspired the Star-Spangled Banner. This conflict is also known as the Second War of Independence.
Yes, and it was this flag that was flown over Fort McHenry in the pivotal Battle of Baltimore. And the defending Army soldiers were outnumbered 5-1 when the British Navy pummeled the fort all night with over 1,500 exploding mortar shells and rockets. And it was the rockets' red glare that allowed Francis Scott Key to see this flag and know that the British hadn't taken the fort. Thus his poem, which became the lyrics to our national anthem.
And speaking of Home of the Brave, the Civil War introduced the Medal of Honor. Soldiers fought valiantly here in part to end slavery, the preservation of the Union, and of course, a war for freedom.
Yes, what you're looking at right here is a bronze tip of the 54th Massachusetts Infantry Regiment. It was one of the first black regiments to serve in the Civil War, and it led the charge on Fort Wagner outside Charleston, South Carolina. An African-American Army Sergeant, William Carney, saw the flag bearer being shot down, and he went to retrieve the flag, marched it forward, and planted it on the parapet despite multiple serious wounds. And for that valiant service, he won the Medal of Honor. And this war demonstrated that the Army was not just a force for defense, but also for justice and national renewal.
And then comes a shift marked by U.S. military intervention abroad, because in 1917, the U.S. entered World War I.
Yes, seeking more than just victory, President Woodrow Wilson said that the world must be made safe for democracy. In the major Meuse-Argonne offensive in France, Army Sergeant Earl Davis Gregory, shown right here, grabbed a rifle and a mortar shell, and he advanced alone ahead of the infantry, capturing a machine gun and 3 German soldiers, and then kept going, capturing a howitzer and entering a dugout, and single-handedly captured 19 more German soldiers. And it was his tactical brilliance and courage that earned him the Medal of Honor. And this victory cemented the American Army as a modern industrialized force capable of global engagement.
And from World War I, the U.S. emerged as a significant world power. Then came World War II. So much heroism here, Kevin, from the U.S. Army.
Oh, absolutely. This was a war for freedom over tyranny and fascism. The Army was indispensable in turning the tide. In the Battle of the Bulge, Brigadier General Anthony McAuliffe, shown right here, commanded the 101st Airborne. The Nazis had surrounded the Belgian town of Bastogne and had it under siege, and the Americans were outnumbered, they were inexperienced, battle fatigued, and low on supplies. Then the German commander gave McAuliffe a surrender ultimatum, and McAuliffe famously wrote back simply, "nuts." Then the bombing assault began. The Americans didn't give in, and this just showed that, this was just pure perseverance right here. And then General Patton right here, his tanks arrived, eventually lifted the siege. And here you see General Patton giving McAuliffe a Distinguished Service Cross for his heroism.
Now, the Korean War was not a clear win, but South Korea today enjoys freedom to this day as a result.
Yes, that's right. The American Army soldiers fighting the communists faced some hard-fought battles. These were intense combat conditions, many casualties, and brutal winters, but that did not stop them from maintaining discipline and adapting to a challenging and often shifting battlefield. It demonstrated that the Army was ready for the defense of democratic allies under international cooperation.
Now, along that same vein, the U.S. sought to contain the spread of communism in Southeast Asia in the Vietnam War. Some extraordinary courage here, Kevin.
Yeah, as you can see, soldiers fought in dense jungles, very rugged conditions, grueling terrain, under constant guerrilla threat of the Viet Cong. Then Army Staff Sergeant Melvin Morris breached enemy lines, retrieved a fallen soldier, and single-handedly took down a force that pinned down his battalion and made it back safely, even being shot 3 times. So this helped the Army understand unconventional warfare.
Now, decades later, the terrorist attack of 9/11 changed the world, and in connection with the Afghanistan war, 9/11 mastermind Osama bin Laden was taken out in Pakistan.
Yes, it was the Army's 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment that provided transport and cover for the SEALs who took him out. And they flew stealth-modified UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters similar to the one shown here, deep into hostile enemy territory with radio communications at a minimum at night, with no moonlight, using night vision goggles, flying over mountains, being undetected by radar. And it was the Army's ability that we see in this mission to carry out missions in which there is no margin for error.
And the U.S. Army, and specifically the 160th, still conducts counterterrorism operations in many countries around the world to this day.
Yes, and what we've shown you here are just a few notable examples of the American Army's prowess and their tradition of valiant and honorable service.
And all of this serves as the foundation for today's 250th anniversary parade.
Well, there you have it. Some major moments in the United States Army's 250 years of service and history. And in less than 1 hour, a parade to celebrate that storied history will kick off right here in Washington, D.C. along Constitution Avenue. And from what we're told, the President of the United States has already left the White House to make his way down to that parade. In the meantime, let's come back to our in-studio guests, where we have Chuck DeVore and Christina Bobb.
And Chuck, when we, think back to the Army's founding, what strikes you most about those early soldiers, what they were up against and what they were trying to convey?
Yeah, I mean, they were up against long odds. I mean, first of all, we didn't have a very good system to pay soldiers or to get equipment or even to get gunpowder and basic necessities. We didn't really have a federal government. It was very difficult to borrow money. We were reliant on a few wealthy, patriotic Americans, the charity from a few other countries that decided to help out, often after we won a battle or something like that. And we had to build an army from scratch. So we had plenty of volunteers in the militia. And oh, by the way, the Loyalists had just as many people fighting for the crown. In fact, most of the casualties were between the Loyalists and the militia, not between the Redcoats and the Continental soldiers. But the Continental soldiers were absolutely necessary because they provided the disciplined spine that allowed there to be consistent military operations. And so it was very difficult. That winter at Valley Forge especially was very formative. Brutal conditions, not enough food, a lot of exposure to cold. The boots were wearing out, the clothing was threadbare, and Congress wasn't able to raise the money for it. So it was a very nearly run thing because we just didn't have the resources to properly fund the military until very late in the conflict.
And Christina, George Washington, obviously the founder of the nation, it's a very fitting situation to have this parade kicking off right in front of the Washington Monument after Washington really setting a precedent for civilian control of the United States military, which has lasted 250 years. What kind of foundation do you think that George Washington laid down for military leadership in the United States?
Well, I think the whole idea of civilian control was incredibly profound, especially for someone who was a warrior, right? And why I think it's so important is because when you're training for war day in, day out, you're training for war, you're building your skills, you're proud of your skills, you're proud of what you built, and you become this efficient warfighter. When you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And so you're like, oh, I know how to solve this problem. I can solve it, through my skills that I've learned as a warfighter, meaning creating war. But obviously, we don't want someone who's, very disposed to use those type of skill sets to solve problems. We want our problems solved through civility and through statesmanship and through diplomacy. And I think that's why it's important to have civilian leadership at the head of the military. And I think Pete Hegseth does a great job with that because he has served in the military and he does have the background to be able to relate to the warfighters and to understand their mentality and what they need. But he's been removed from it enough to kind of remember what civilians want, which is peace. We want peace, that's the goal. And so I think that was just really incredibly profound of George Washington to recognize that penchant of people who are constantly training to want to use those skills and say, yeah, it's great that we have this weapon, but let's not make the weapon in charge of whether we use it or not. So yeah, I think it was an amazing insight of our founding fathers.
And Christina, digging into some of the values here, the Revolutionary War wasn't just a war over taxes, it was a fight for freedom of belief, self-rule, and all those founding ideals. In your view, how does the Army today really embody those values?
Well, I think anybody who signs up for the military, and I will assume it's somewhat similar for the Marine Corps as it is for the Army, you have to run through the risks of, potential war breaking out while you're serving. And anybody who signs up recognizes that there's one sacrifice by going through the training and doing the hard work and becoming what the country wants you to be. And then there's the other potential sacrifice of actually getting deployed and using your skills and being sent far away from home and being separated from your family and all of the sacrifice that comes with being a military member. And you don't know what cost you're going to have to pay when you sign up. You don't know how long you're going to be gone, and you don't know how it's going to impact your family. And so I think bravery and courage and selflessness are inherent in the decision for anybody who actually enlists or becomes an officer in the first place.
And right now we are taking a live look there at Constitution Ave, where the parade we're hearing could start a little bit earlier. Leave it to the Army to be on time, that's for sure. Chuck, when you think about soldiers in the United States Army throughout history, what values do you see at the core of their fight, and how those values really carry through the Army's history?
Yeah, I think there was this very interesting interview that was done in the early 1800s with this really old veteran of the Revolutionary War. And I'm going to paraphrase this very loosely, but they asked him, well, why did you fight? And he just said, we believed that we always governed ourselves, and they didn't believe that we should, right? So at the end of the day, it came down to your ability to self-govern, to have your own liberty, your own freedom. Now, for individuals, of course, there's a whole broad reason, right? People may seek adventure. They may seek steady employment. When actual combat happens, of course, and thank God, I never had to experience that. The closest I came was, a little bit before the invasion in Panama on the streets of LA during the LA riots in 1992. But the fact is that once the bullets start flying, you're fighting for your buddies, right? You are fighting for your team, because those are the people who are your immediate universe that you have to rely on and you count on to get through the hellscape that you're going through. So there are a variety of reasons. I know that in my own case, I enlisted first in February 1983. Ronald Reagan was president. You had a resurgence of patriotism. And I thought, hey, I'm able-bodied. I, played sports in high school. I've still got both my eyes and both my kidneys. I could join the Army. And I'm too tall to be in the Air Force anyway. My eyes were already going bad, so they took me. And 24 years later, I made a career of being a citizen soldier.
Now, on that note, Chuck, as the festivities do begin and kick off today, if those first soldiers who were at Bunker Hill or Saratoga could look ahead 250 years and see this parade happening today, what do you think would surprise or maybe reassure them about where the Army has gone?
Well, I mean, first of all, they would see the flag, and of course the flag was officially christened, I think 2 years after the Army was, so there was this proliferation of early flags. But they'd see the flag and they'd immediately would recognize it and say, hey, that's the American flag. Well, you know, look at that. Look at this amazing equipment. Look at how disciplined these soldiers are. Look at how magnificently equipped they are. I think that they would be very impressed, and they would think, wow, we did that. We set the foundation for that. I think they'd be very proud and quite pleased at having kicked all that into motion.
And right now, the pre-programming appears to be ready to kick off any moment. We're going to be keeping a very close eye on that. As you see the crowd starting to gather right there at Constitution Ave, where that's a different angle, a different view. That looks like it might be right behind the Lincoln Memorial, where they're coming over from Virginia, marching over to get into place from Virginia. The parade, as far as we can tell, has not officially kicked off as of yet. There's a look at the stage right there, where we will likely see President Trump, the 45th and 47th President of the United States, address the nation. And there you have the Joint Chiefs, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Daniel Kane, coming out. And if he's going to speak, we will bring you to him. And we're going to tune in right now and bring you the live look right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Secretary of Defense, the Honorable Pete Hegseth. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, accompanied by the Second Lady of the United States, Usha Vance, and their 3 children. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and First Lady Melania Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, would you please rise for the singing of our national anthem?
We had an army.
They started as a small, unorganized group of shop owners and farmers, but they fought the most powerful army in the entire world to a standstill in Concord, Lexington, and Bunker Hill.
Then our Continental Congress chose George Washington as general of our Continental Army.
But it wasn't until 1 year later, on July 4th, 1776, that news arrived of the signing of our Declaration of Independence.
Now we had a new army and a new nation.
With little gunpowder, no shoes, bloody feet, few cannons, little training, and even less food.
Valley Forge started in December. They went into winter camp in December of 1777. Approximately 2,000 Americans died that winter of disease.
They lived through hell, but they never ever gave up. Not this army, not this first American army.
Finally, Washington and his army arrived. Here at Yorktown, where they had General Cornwallis and his powerful British army trapped in this city against the sea.
All of the preparation that Washington has learned through the course of those 6.5 years meets its full force here at Yorktown, and he employs it brilliantly.
Sailing from the Caribbean, the French Navy arrived and took on the British fleet.
Washington decided to make his move. Our men began digging to get closer and closer to the fort, finally getting within rifle and cannon range. Naturally, George Washington chose to set off our first cannon shot.
The British had two small forts in front of the main fort. They were called Redoubts 9 and 10.
Then, on the moonless night of October 14th, the American and French forces attacked the redoubts. The hand-to-hand combat with bayonets, knives, and fists was bloody, to say the least. But within an hour, we were victorious.
And as the sun came up the next day, Cornwallis looked out and realized he was in serious trouble. So he prepared an all-out, desperate counterattack.
It didn't work, and the British were forced to surrender.
We were supposed to lose to the best army and the largest and most professional navy in the world.
But our young army had won the war and our freedom, the freedom we hold so dear. And 250 years later, for what started as a ragtag group of shop owners, has now become the most powerful army in the world.
Today, many things are very different from that army here at Yorktown, but one thing remains the same. An undying passion, guts, and love for our country remains deep in the heart of today's army. When I look into their faces, you can see it. That will never change. God bless the United States Army, and God bless the United States of America.
我们现在看到就是 M1 埃布拉姆斯主战坦克啊，是军绿色的涂装，其实现实生活中很少看到，基本上看到它在伊拉克都是这种土黄色的，或者是其他的
土黄色的。
对，并且非常干净啊！我们现在看到视频或者其他这个坦克一般都比较脏，对。可以看到现场观众很多啊，都在拿着摄像机和手机拍摄现场的视频。 频。那其实呢，今天的天气预报说可能会有阵雨，但是目前看起来啊，现场的天气状况是比较良好的，并没有下雨。各位观众朋友们，大家好，现在出现的应该就是美国独立战争时期的方阵了。美国独立战争是美国第一场战争，也是最重要的战争啊。第一枪是在莱克星顿打响的，之后呢，美国大陆军在邦克山迎战英军。其实，在整个独立战争期间，美国经历了相当大的困难。那大陆军在华盛顿将军的带领下，不得不躲入伏击谷，长达多年的时间。最终，华盛顿带领军队在新泽西的特伦顿战役中获胜，之后在北部的萨拉托加以及南部的约克城战役获胜之后，奠定了独立战争的胜利。所以我们可以现在看到画面，就是该方阵大概有40人穿戴着独立战争时期的服装在进行阅兵。
对。
That legacy actually lives on today with the U.S. Army Fife and Drum Corps, part of the 3rd Infantry Regiment known as the Old Guard. Founded back in 1960, they're the only unit of their kind in the armed forces.
他们穿着当时大陆军的这种服装，然后呢敲着战鼓，有点像那个时代的作战的那种方式。实际上，你看他们背着枪嘛，那个枪这以前呢是这个滑膛枪，但是后来实际上他们背的呢就是叫做美国长步枪的这种世界上第一种的那个来福枪，就是它可以比较精准瞄准，可以实现了这个狙击手的作用。那前面正在骑马走过的人就是所谓的这个乔治·华盛顿的那个一个扮演者，他也就是向这个总统和主席台致敬。
那接下来大家将要看到的是美国陆军的伞兵队金骑士。
They open their main canopy simultaneously and negotiate the softest possible landing.
他们将使用特殊的风柱滑翔装置进行降落。
他们是应该准确的降落在主席台附近吧，主席台前。
大家现在看到了，就是金骑士啊，他们已经从空中降落，从天而降。
感觉现场的气氛也非常热烈啊！这是
对啊，
已经30多年来第一次的这个阅兵，实际上对美国人来说也是非常期待的。我看有很多那个就是刚才那个新唐人电视台采访了一些人，他也是觉得哇，总是想要看一下嘛，就是觉得美国这是世界第一强的军队，却从来不太在国人面前掩饰，
你看他们滑翔下来的时候，它后面都有这个烟雾器。其实，在很多军事这个表演中，包括战斗机表演中，都通过这种烟雾啊，增强这个视觉效果。那看起来现场是比较嗨的。这其实是我第一次看金骑士的现场表演，感觉还是很不一样啊。
金骑士的好像据说挑选的非常严格，3年就要换一批人。这是美国的这个第3季。
In 1861, a nation divided. Over 4 brutal years, nearly 2 million
现在进入了这个国内战争时期了。
Among them, 5 future
南北战争，我们就中国大陆中国人都称为南北战争。那这也是美国最惨烈的这个一次就是国内的内战。首先出现的就是第四步兵师。然后出现的是第一骑兵团。他们这个第一骑兵团呢，曾经是在这个是属于南北战争当中北军，是属于联邦军，可以说它是发挥了巨大的作用。当然，它的损失也很惨重。不过，它后来又创造了一个就是被美国人所永久的面吧。
那这次阅兵仪式，大家可以看到啊，就是每一个方阵前面大概都有40人，他穿着的是历史的服装。那之后呢，就是他所属的部队穿着现在的服装。我们可以很明显的看到现代服装和以前服装的区别。现代服装都强调的是迷彩，那以前的服装，你像英国独立战争时期穿的服装都是红色的，那又称之为龙虾兵。那美国内战穿的都是偏蓝色的。
对。现在那个金骑士他们已经下来了。
其 其实金骑士成立的历史也比较短，它是1959年才成立的。它主要是为了测试当时的一些伞兵的装备和技术啊，包括向公众展示，激起这个民众的士气。这是降落之后的金骑士士兵，好像抱着军旗要跑向主席台。
From Fort Cavazos, Texas, home of legends, the 1st Cavalry Division rides with pride. Born from the thunder of horse cavalry traditions of the Civil War, the first team forged its reputation on the front lines of history. They stormed Manila with the flying column, charged into Pyongyang as the first to breach the line and face the brutal crucible of Iron Drang.
他对于这个联邦军的那个作战呢，发挥了很大的作用，属于战绩显赫。不过后来他在这个就是南北战争结束以后，他被解散了。
Tough, fit, fearless. The 1st Cavalry Division is a lethal, disciplined force.
现在美国陆军编制中依然有骑兵部队叫第一骑兵师，但是它已经和骑兵没有任何关系了，它已经是装甲师。对。我们可以看到现场啊，有2个人，一个叫人山，一个叫人海。
人山人海。
今天的天气其实也不错啊，华盛顿 DC 天气大概是不冷不热，又有点阴天，
有点烟雾的感觉。
大家现在看到是本次活动的赞助商，对，洛克希德马丁啊。洛克希德马丁最近可能不太开心啊，因为他丢掉了美国空军 F-47，也就是第6代战斗机的这个订单，被波音公司获得。我们现在看到的就是华盛顿纪念堂，真的是人很多啊，现场人真的很多。我们可以看到现场观众真的是各个族裔啊，白人、黑人、亚裔。
美国人虽然说都觉得美国大兵，但是好像感觉，但是也颇有这个尚武精神啊。所以说，是想独立战争的时候，大家就是民兵嘛，是自己掏钱、掏枪，然后掏装备，然后没有任何军饷。
In 1914.
但是想想当时他们最开始独立的时候，确实很不容易。当然那个时候如果说只靠这个美国自己的这个力量的话，我们还是难以打败这个英军。所以说这个国际合作还是蛮重要的。那下面进入第1次世界大战的这个方阵了。
Despite having less than 130,000 soldiers at the beginning, the Army eventually grew to over 4 million, with nearly 2 million soldiers serving in Europe. In 6 months of fighting, nearly 50,000 Americans lost their lives, with another 190,000 wounded. The guns fell silent with the armistice of November 11th, 1918.
我们现在看到就是第1次世界大战时候车辆啊，我们知道其实车辆诞生历史大概也就100年，和坦克诞生的历史差不多。
这个是1918道奇就是一种旅行车，那个年代的一个很。
We continue on with more USA World War I rolling stock. This 1918 Dodge touring car was part of the legendary 1919 transcontinental convoy. 3,251 miles and 62 grueling days across the Lincoln Highway. Remember, no pavement, no GPS, and no power steering. Just grit, determination, and the drive to push Army mobility into the future.
你看那时候车它没有后视镜的，
只能往前开，不能往后走。
对啊，你只能转头啊。
Dodge touring car.
其实美国有很多人喜欢这种老爷车，
对，路上有时候偶尔能看到。
对，
这是第42，这是第42军乐团。 这是第42师吧？
对，42
师战时的服装。
42师现在属于美国预备役，就是它不是常备部队。美国目前现在常备12个师，而42师并不属于其中。
它是属于叫彩虹师嘛，对不对？
对。
你看它的那个就是军乐团军鼓当中有一个是有彩虹那个标记，
对。
对，那个最靠外边的那个军鼓上有彩虹。
对，因为其实美国早期军队啊，它的军队都是以家乡，比如说弗吉尼亚，我成立弗吉尼亚的师，卡罗来纳是卡罗来纳的师。那42师，它的士兵是来自于26个州啊，所以叫做彩虹师。你像当时美国内战的时候啊，基本上就是说你像10强杰克逊率领就是弗吉尼亚军团，那别的将军可能是佐治亚的军团。各位观众朋友们，现在隆重向大家介绍大名鼎鼎的第82空降师啊，他们在行进中。
Our soldiers, under the command of General Blackjack Pershing, hit the trenches in the new standard. It was the olive drab winter service uniform. Now on their heads, you'll see a steel helmet with sand-textured paint built to deflect deadly shrapnel.
不过第一次世界大战的那些装备还没有出来，应该待会儿会有。
Nicknamed the Pershing boot, on their feet was the M918 1918 French boot. It was designed to survive the brutal grind of trench warfare. And on their backs, the field pack, rations, ammo, first aid, and a gas mask.
我们可以看到这些士兵穿的靴子就是当时特制的靴子，能够让他们在这个壕沟战中保持体温。
Incidentally, the 42nd Infantry Division was deployed to heavy combat abroad and then deployed again in World War II, ultimately liberating the.
我们可以看到美国的这个由这个 parade 啊，它其实没有踢正步，大家都是就是想怎么走怎么走啊。我之前在这个西点军校有看过他们学生的这个入伍的仪式，也是这样子啊，大家都是尽量整齐往前走的，因为美国人觉得这个踢正步它更多是形式主义，在战争期间啊，没有人会踢正步。
Half section. This is literally powered by horsepower and heritage. This elite ceremonial unit honors the legacy.
这是那个炮车，就是那个时代的第一次大战的时候的这个就是用那个马拉的炮车。
The half section keeps tradition alive and rolling strong, representing the power, pride, and precision of America's field artillery. This is Fort.
它有一种名称叫做炮兵半队，这个叫做就是。Half section 是以这个希尔堡当时一般他们叫希尔堡炮兵半队。
那个时候的炮兵是陆战上的绝对之王，像拿破仑当时他其实就是炮兵出身，他对于炮兵的运用炉火纯青。
World War II, a global fight for freedom.
现在这个希尔堡这个炮兵半队呢，已经完全成了一个就是仪式了，基本上属于一个是仪仗队一样，所以它只是表示继承马匹和野战炮兵那种光荣传统。
接下来大家要看到的方阵将是第2次世界大战。我们现在看到有 fly over 啊
，B52和 B52 和轰炸机和 P51 野马战斗机组成的编队，
是2战时期的。当年在太平洋战场上和日本的零式战斗机啊，这互相缠斗。
P51也是2战末期是性能最好的那个战斗机了啊。
对。
Up next, the Cadillac of the sky, the P-51 Mustang.
现在出现的是2战时期的吉普车，相信大家在不少2战电影中都能看到。
它叫威利斯吉普嘛，威利斯吉普的话，这也是世界上第一种那个4轮驱动的车辆，所以说它当时出现的时候也是引起了这个极大的关注。这个威尔斯吉普呢，实际上是在整个2战期间，它生产了60多万辆。装备了美军和所有的这个盟军，也是成为了几乎是2战时候标配啊。我们一看到这个2战的这个将军，基本上都是坐着这种威尔斯吉普。
对啊，你看纪录片和电影出现的都是他，
对。也是第一种被称为吉普的那个东西，车辆啊。
看到川普总统站起来向士兵们致意。出现在我们面前的应该就是第82空降师。
对。82空降师也被称为全美师，它是实际上是从那个美国40多个州的那个人组成的，而且他参与了这个就是诺曼底登陆和这个城市花园行动啊等一些重大的这种那个作战。
82空降师和101空降师是当时美国最精英的伞兵部队啊，特别是诺曼底行动和这个市场花园随后的市场花园行动是绝对的作战主力，包括著名的电影《兄弟连》就是取材于美国的空降军。空降军在战时的伤亡率是非常高的。
对。不过现在来说，空降兵已经变得不是很重要了。像101空降师也现在变成了空中突击师，基本上是以这个直升机和以直升机为载具了，它不是跳伞了。但是82空降师还是保持着空降的这个特点。
对。不过在这个空降军方面最有发言权的就是俄罗斯了。俄罗斯单独有一个军种叫做空降军，是它颇为倚重的这样一个军事实力。不过在这次乌克兰战争中啊，空降军是损失惨重，再也没有从天而降的这种战斗经历，而是在地面上和乌克兰作战。
也是整个现在的这种作战态势和这个武器装备的进化吧，实际上让空降军变得非常的危险，几乎没有太多的生存能力了。
马克，你有没有觉得这101空降师和82空降师出场，他气场就和之前的42师不太一样啊？就每个人看着都是非常有气势。
对，毕竟还是他的精锐之师，他们自己的这个整个的装备和平时的训练完全不一样，可能是。
就当任何有紧急情况发生的时，美国总统想到的那就是82空降师和101空降师。空中突击师啊，我举个例子，比如说当年阿富汗撤退的时候，因为当时撤退情况非常混乱，为了保卫喀布尔机场，当时就调集的82空降师。
这是 M4
谢尔曼坦克，谢尔曼坦克是2战时期标志性的坦克，总共生产了大概4万多辆。它是以美国南北战争著名将领谢尔曼命名的。
谢尔曼坦克的火力倒并不是很强的，只有75毫米那个主炮。当时来说，它的机动性能是很好的。
其实2战的时候，德国的很多武器装备都站在上风啊，无论是首次发明喷气式战斗机，还是这个坦克上面的虎式和豹式，在技术方面对西方国家都有一定的这个优势。只不过因为各方面的原因，包括这个军事实力、工业能力的差距，最终落败。
目前看到的这个是 M16半履带那个。就是半履带车吧，它前面基本上是主要是装那个防空火炮的，在那个时代 M16。实际上在2战的时候，德国也大量采用这个半履带车。现在出现的这个是 M1A1，这个就是履带式拖车。最开始我看这个型号的时候，还以为是 M1A1 坦克呢，因为那个时代是那个当时的履带牵引车。后边主要是牵引火
炮的，对，像90毫米的高炮或者155毫米的榴弹炮。我们现在后面看到这是2战时期著名的卡车，马克，你记得它的型号吗？我好像忘记了。
我也不知道这个型号，但是那个2战时候的美军的卡车确实发挥了很大的作用，特别是诺曼底登陆之后，有个叫红球快递的这么一个专案，就是当时为了那个。为了加快的这个整个的这个后勤补给速度，他们特别开辟了一个专行的通道，让这些卡车在6个月的时间里头，6000辆卡车运了40多万吨的物资，这保证了这个诺曼底登陆之后盟军的快速突进啊。所以说，卡车实际上这个运输部队一直是后勤补给，一直是美军重中之重，大概1/3的人都是要从事的是这个后勤的那个单位。
从二战时期的军用口粮就能看出美国对这个后勤，包括士兵饮食的这个重视程度。
Began on June 25, 1950, with the North Korean Army's invasion of South Korea. A coalition of South Korea, the United States,
接下来出现的将是美国韩战方阵。朝鲜战争是冷战时期的第一场大规模的军事对决。朝鲜不宣而战，向韩国发动突然袭击，之后兵锋直指南部港口城市釜山。之后，美国带领的联合国军介入，赢得了釜山保卫战的胜利。之后，在仁川，麦克阿瑟出其不意的登陆，直接打断了朝鲜军队的军事部署，将双方的接触线直接推到鸭绿江畔。之后，中共介入，使得双方又陷入僵局长达3年的时间。那现在出现在大家面前的是第3步兵师。第3步兵师参加了参加了朝鲜战争啊，特别是长津湖的战役。那这个方阵的赞助商是 Coinbase 啊，是一家这个数字货币的开发商。其实就在游行地点啊，我们知道从林肯纪念堂往华盛顿纪念堂看去啊，左边是这个韩战的左边是越南战争的纪念碑，右边就是韩战的纪念碑。
又是吉普
M151型
M151吉普。
The vehicle spanned more than 40 years in 4 manufacturers and were everywhere that the Army was deployed. Another role
本次游行的地点就是在宪法大道，从林肯纪念堂附近出发，一直到华盛顿纪念碑。
Was a mainstay of the U.S. Army for decades, particularly during the Vietnam War and Operation Iraqi Freedom. The Deuce and a Half proved its value moving cargo, supplies, and soldiers. Its capabilities include up to 5,000 pounds off-road and 10,000 pounds on-road, making it ideal for moving just about anything.
这是美国冷战时期重要的运输卡车，参加过越南战争以及伊拉克战争。
Helicopters became the new workhorses of battle, delivering troops, firepower, and supplies in a
这是越战时的那个飞机，主要是U1直升机。
era of air mobility, fierce firefights, and unwavering brotherhood.
越战的时候大量使用了实际上是第一次这个就是在战争当中的就是运用，就是直升机首次在战争中大量使用。比如说那个时候我们看到很多关于越战的照片，电影啊都出现了这个 U1直升机，UH-1通用直升机。现在 UH-1通用直升机它组成编队，飞越这个就是游行现场。
我曾经在佛罗里达和参加过越战驾驶 U1直升机飞行员聊过，他们已经80、90岁了，他们在越战是出生入死。那个时候他说，就是说他们帮助南越的军队打仗嘛，就是说他们如果到一个村子，这个村庄的村民帮了他们，之后北越的军队来的话，就会把他们全杀掉。他们说这个北越非常残忍，北越非常残忍。
The Cayos, Cobra, and Huey, ladies and gentlemen, 3 iconic Army symbols.
这个是这叫贝德小鸟式的那个直升机，这实际上是一种特种部队常用的。
The 1st Cavalry Division Band, based out of Fort Cavazos, Texas, has played a vital role in U.S. military history. Since its origins back in 1855,
现在出现的是美国第1骑兵师。
It has supported operations from the Civil War to Desert Storm.
虽然叫骑兵，但是可能也是现在都是装甲师了。
对，都是重型装甲师。对。
The band continues its mission using music to shape perceptions, foster trust, and promote national army and division interests. Standing ready to serve, it remains an enduring symbol of the 1st Cavalry Division's legacy and commitment to duty. The band performs Hit the Leather and Ride, a march composed by Captain Robert Meredith Wilson. This piece reflects the cavalry's transition from horses to mechanized warfare, capturing the speed, the resilience, and the tradition of the division. From Corte Cavazo, Texas, everybody, the 1st Cavalry Division Band.
现在出场的是第1骑兵师的军乐团。
The U.S. Army deployed large numbers of troops in support of the Vietnam War. The first contingent of U.S. Army advisors arrived in Vietnam in the late 1950s, and that quickly grew to a small team.
现在出现的应该是第25步兵师，他们是曾经在这个越战当中是个主力。
他们的穿着应该是当时越战时期的这个装备。当时越战其实对于美国政治来说影响非常大，因为美国当时是义务兵制，就很多人都需要参军。我们现在在路上也能看到很多当时参加过这个越战的老兵。其实，在美国有大量当时就是越战之后从越南逃离的这个人，特别在加州和佛罗里达。比如佛罗里达有一个民主党的众议员叫 Stephanie Murphy 啊，他就是越南裔，他在弗吉尼亚长大。
在加州的话，就是圣荷西和这个洛杉矶是2个最大的这个越南人的这个就是社群在那里。
所以你看，美国很有意思，就是说它有很多越南裔的议员和将军，日本裔的将军，包括伊朗裔的将军。
现在的这个在美国的越南裔很多都是原来的南越的这个就是逃出来的，所以他们实际上是非常比较反共的。
现在出现在画面中的是第101空降师，他们穿着的是越战时期他们的制服。
New lightweight uniforms were constructed to move with the soldier. The M16 replaced the M1 Garand, calling for redesigned ammo gear and faster reloads in combat. Body armor got smarter, jackets and trousers got lighter, and field equipment was reimagined to meet the mission.
他们使用的是 M16 自动步枪。
现在已经没有了，现在已经不用了。
对。
Special thanks to our sponsor, Oracle.
这是该方阵的赞助商啊，甲骨文。那其实这次阅兵啊，有美国很多大公司都参与了赞助啊，包括我们刚才看到洛克希德马丁和甲骨文。美国陆军的主题色是黄色和黑色啊，这在很多制服中也能看到。那接下来就是海湾战争。
When Saddam Hussein's Iraq invaded Kuwait in August 1990, the U.S. Army deployed to Saudi Arabia.
海湾战争可以说是美军的高光时期上，时刻。
因为海湾战争离现在比较近，因为我记得当时包括中国国内很多媒体都是渲染萨达姆是世界军力第3或者是第4，美国打萨达姆没有太多胜算。我甚至记得当时美国的兵棋推演啊，就是说认为要有上万人伤亡，所以准备了超过1万个裹尸袋啊。当然最后海湾战争是摧枯拉朽，简直是降维打击。
因为那个时候海湾战争的时候 ，CNN 进行了大量的这个实况转播，所以这也是世界上第一次能够非常详尽的、近距离的观看战争的一次这个就是一场战争吧。而这个过程当中展现了这个美军这个巨大的这个科技的优势，也是第一次那个信息化作战的。
As the oldest continuously serving division in the U.S. Army, the unit has participated in every major operation since World War I, living up to its motto, no mission too difficult,
现在出现在画面中的是美国大红衣师啊，也就是第一步兵师。我们可以听到山呼海啸般的欢呼声啊，这是因为大红衣师在整个美国陆军中享有这个非常高的声誉。他们参加了各从1战、2战到海湾战争等各大重要战役。在诺曼底登陆时，他们是登陆奥马哈海滩。我们知道，在诺曼底登陆时，当时有多个海滩啊，美国主要负责的是舰滩和奥马哈海滩的登陆，而奥马哈海滩美国损失惨重，当天损失了上千人，是整个诺曼底登陆中最惨痛的伤亡。而大红衣师就负责攻克奥马哈海滩。这大红衣师出场啊，这个士兵看起来气势也是气宇不凡。哦，现在出现的就是各个军迷心心念的 M1 主战坦克。我真的从来没有看过这么干净的这个 M1 主战坦克啊！
实际上那个时候，那时候用的还是 M1A1 为主，然后当时最新的有 M1A2。
对，主要是 M1A1，但是已经有平油装甲了。
就是帕拉丁自走炮。
那我们现在看到这些装备啊，其实有一些还在美国陆军服役，不过是更新的型号。其实这个海湾战争胜利，包括冷战的结束啊，导致美国军方结束了很多现代化的武器项目。因为我刚才看到这个 M109 自走炮，其实美国后续有十字军的自走炮，是性能更先进啊，但是因为美国没有对手了，所以就把十字军自走炮等其他的项目给取消了，包括著名的这个科曼奇武装直升机等等啊。
这是 M2步兵战车，
布莱德利步兵战车啊，它除了有这个25毫米的链炮以外，可以发射平油弹，并且可以发射这个陶式反坦克导弹。其实，在海湾战争期间，这个布莱德利步兵战车遇到伊拉克的这个主战坦克啊，无论是 T72也好，还是这个 T64也好，都是不落下风。正是因为这个陶式反坦克导弹，特别是在伊拉克的沙尘暴天气中啊，美国无论是坦克还是步兵战车，都装备了红外成像系统，能够在更远的距离上发现敌人。而我们知道，伊拉克主要使用的是苏系装备，苏系装备的红外成像质量非常差，所以啊，就导致这个海湾战争的时候摧枯拉朽。我们看到，不仅美国的坦克能够秒杀伊拉克的坦克，美国步兵战车也可以做到，美国的武装直升机也可以做到，美国的 A10攻击机也可以做到。所以就导致最后这个海湾战争如此快的结束。这是美国。
实际上，在海湾战争当中 ，M2 布雷德利战车，它实际上它那个击毁的坦克数量比那个 M1 坦克还要多，就是因为步兵战车它机动灵活，有时候它那个就是在前后的突袭的部分部队都采用那个 M2 战车，所以说它实际上它与这个就是伊拉克部队接战的这个机会比这个 M1 坦克还要多。但是这一次它展示的不是老式的这个M1 就是 M2 那个步兵战车，它实际上是应该是那个最新的那个 M2A3 的步兵战车。
对，现役的。其实美国陆军有大量的库存，无论是 M1 还是 M2 啊，美国采购数都上万辆，但现役大概 M1 大概5000辆，它放在这个所谓的这个陆军仓库里面。你像其他国家购买 M1 主战坦克，它的生产线已经没有了，都是拿这些就是之前生产好的拿出来进行改装。因为其实封存，我们听到这个词觉得很陈旧，但其实美国它封存之后，它的车况是相当良好的。
它有那个非常严格的那种程序，它要把它那个关键的那包括用那个容易发生就是锈蚀的部分，它都要进行封存，就是真的就是给它完全封上，然后同时涂抹那种就是一些像机油啊，一种就让它与这个氧气隔绝的方式。
现在出现的是美国第一装甲师啊，刚才看到是第一步兵师大红衣师，这是第一装甲师。第一装甲师是1940年在2战期间成立，是美国最主要也是最核心的装甲部队啊。他们参加了诺曼底登陆、突出部战役等一系列重要的2战战役。
During Desert Storm, they engaged in some of the largest tank battles in Army history that were decisive victories, shattering enemy formations. Based in Fort Bliss, Texas, America's tank division is currently supporting
可以看到
missions
这个美
in
国
20 countries
美国
across
大
5
兵也是各种肤色都有，既有黑颜色的，也有白颜色的，也有亚裔，所以说它这是一个真是多民族、多种族的这么一个融合的军队。
我记得我前段时间去西点军校看这个西点军校军乐团，他们军乐团里面就有一些亚裔的人在演唱歌曲，所以从这个军校到这个军队，美国其实是非常多元化的。第一装甲师呢，
其实他不需要强调多元化，他就已经很多元化了，是不是？
这因为美国它本身这个种族构成就是这样子。那第一装甲师是美国的重型部队。那其实，在过去20年，因为反恐作战的需求，美国把很多其他的这个部队改成一些轻型作战化部队。最重要的就是叫史派克旅。史派克旅它是8轮战车，能够快速部署。但是第一装甲师依然是以M1主战坦克为主的重型战队。它主要是用来应付像海湾战争或者是类似这种乌克兰战争这种高烈度的区域战争。
不过未来不知道这个重装甲师还能不能有可能，就是继续存续下去，因为我们在这次俄乌战争当中也看到了这个坦克的作用呢，逐渐的被越来越那个减弱，实际上慢慢变成了一个比较移动的炮塔的这种感觉，几乎坦克对决的场面呢，我们没有太看到，那么反而呢是这个无人机发挥了巨大的作用，让这个坦克变得非常的容易受到攻击，所以说不得不装上鸟笼啊，给自己彻底包起来，这样的话才能够躲避这个无所不在的无人机的袭击。
所以美国未来包括现在都不断的在开发一些无人的这个战车，包括我们知道这海马斯火箭炮，美国已经开发出了这个无人版本。那未来很有可能在前线厮杀这些坦克啊、步兵战车啊，全都是无人化的。那在过去的这几天时间呢，这美国大概有6600名陆军士兵从全国各地啊，主要是从德克萨斯赶到华盛顿地区。在过去几天时间，他们主要驻扎在一些这个联邦政府大楼，比如农业部的大楼里面，他们这些应急口粮，然后呢睡在这个地板上。
First used in Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm, the M119 howitzer brought precision firepower to the front lines. Lighter and more mobile than larger artillery, it was built for the infantry brigade, able to fire high into the air or directly at the target, depending on the position.
M2布雷德利步兵战在这个俄乌战争当中也发挥了很大作用。我们看到了很多视频，就是 M2 就是直接与这个 T90对打，然后甚至把 T90战车打的就是打残了。所以说 M2 虽然说是个对。虽然说它是个步兵战车，但是它也有实力对抗这个主战坦克。
是啊，它的这个链炮因为发射的是贫铀弹嘛，所以它其实穿甲能力比较强。特别如果打击敌方主战坦克的侧面装甲的话，还是有一定胜算的。就是还有一个，其实美国我们现在看到这些坦克、步兵战车，它其实体积和重量都非常大。其实你像俄罗斯的 T72 和 T90，它其实体积和重量和 M1 是不能成正比的。现在的 M1 可能要接近70吨了，就是说，所以我们可以看到，就是说，主席台两旁有这个 M1 主战坦克，但是游行的时候其实没有太多的，因为它会对这个当地的地面啊造成比较大的影响。M2 布莱德利步兵战车它重量更轻一点啊，所以行驶在地面上是可以的。但是我们可以看到它的，对，40多吨也不轻啊。对，但是所有参加
比那个 T72 坦克都重，
比T72坦克重。对，俄罗斯其实坦克小的很多啊 ，T72、T80、T90都很小，所以它的防护也差，内部空间也小，所以它只能把这个炮弹就是沿着这个炮塔放一圈嘛，所以又称为自爆坦克。就是你基本上通过俄乌战争就可以看到啊，无论 T72 还是 T90，你命中炮塔之后啊，这个炮塔就先飞了一般。
Struck the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. using commercial airliners.
接下来的方阵将为大家介绍的是进入21世纪啊，美国全球反恐战争使用的一些武器装备。
The Army immediately deployed forces to Afghanistan to destroy Osama bin Laden's al-Qaeda terrorist organization and depose his sponsors and the ruling Taliban. The 2003 President Bush expanded the war to Iraq. Soldiers and other armed services overthrew Iraq's dictator Saddam Hussein.
美国纽约发生了911恐怖袭击事件，世贸双塔被命中啊，包括这个五角大楼也受到攻击。那之后呢，美国针对阿富汗的塔利班政权发动了这个阿富汗战争。阿富汗战争持续10几年的时间啊，美国耗费巨资。那在几年之前，拜登政府期间，美国彻底从阿富汗撤军，那结束了这一次的阿富汗战争。那阿富汗战争其实是北约历史上第一次激活这个第5条款，也就是说这个防御同盟。所以我们可以看到，在阿富汗战争期间，北约的其他国家也都参与啊，无论是英国无论是澳大利亚、加拿大都派出军队进入阿富汗。
阿富汗不会称为这个帝国牧场啊，帝国坟场
是这样的。当年苏联在这也
没有任何一个国家能够轻易的去征服阿富汗，无论是苏联也好，还是美国也好，实际上来说，最后都是就是进去的时候都很风风光光，出来的时候都比较灰头土脸。
苏联在阿富汗也是10年啊，
而且我觉得苏联在阿富汗10年，也让把它耗尽了它的国力，最后也导致了它那个。国力衰退，然后呢，最后崩溃了。
是这样的，其实打仗是非常花钱的。我们别看就是说，阿富汗战争到后期没有什么太大的战役，但是你维持那么多的人员，武器弹药的消耗，建立情报网络，这都是需要花费巨量的资金的。
对，特别是你正规军与这个游击队作战的时候，实际上是比较吃亏的。就是我们任何战争，我们都会发现。就是你一旦那个，游击队的话，它是藏身于各种那个，就是完全的，就是和平民百姓藏在那个他们的背后，这样的话，你实际上来说，很多人根本发现不了。
我们刚才看到是 M109自走炮啊，现在是 M1A1A2这个主战坦克。我们可以看到这名观众怎么穿的是这个戴的是古巴的帽子呢？这是美国的帽子，
美国旗。
这是美国的星条旗的。
美国人很喜欢把这个国旗做成各种各样的服饰啊。
对，
这在有些国家来说不太能够接受。
所以你看 M1主战坦克体积非常大啊，一个人在路上走，就是别人都容不下了，对吧？你刚才看那个布莱德利步兵战车旁边还能这个侧着或者并排
并行两辆，
对啊，M1就不行了，就跟螃蟹似的啊，我在这儿啊，别人就不能过来了。
对。
所以当时乌克兰引进 M1主战坦克的时候，就是有一个考虑，就是因为地面泥泞的时候，其实 M1是非常不适合作战。当然，冬天和夏天是有很强的战斗力。
对，实际上我觉得，就是中东实际上很适合于这个 M1的作战，因为什么？它是1万5 G 那个一马平川，
开足马力往前跑就行了。
对，它1500匹马力的那个，就是那个燃气涡轮机一发动了以后，就跟飞一样跑。
对啊，
这个对他来说是一个，
这是 M1坦克的非常
有
特色。对啊，
所以说实际上来说不太适合于这种。虽然说2战的时候发生过这个实际上最大规模的这种坦克会战，在这个黑土地上，在这块黑土地上，但实际上
就在库尔斯克嘛。
对，但实际上它真的适合于这个坦克打仗的这个时间实际上是很短。
是。 其实二战的时候也是，就是春天的话，化雪的时候，大家就是尽量不怎么打仗啊，一般都是冬天、夏天发起攻势。
这是史崔克战车，出现了轮式战车。
大巴轮啊，最近20年，就是世界各国都在开发这种，俗称的大巴轮，包括台湾也有所谓的这个云豹装甲车啊，就是同样类型的。史派克步兵战车它是个鸡肋。
你的轮式战车是个鸡肋。
对，它可以有各种变形嘛，也就是说，比如说。有史派克的指挥车，然后有史派克普通步兵战车，它可以装这个不同的炮塔，然后包括我看就是美国，去年的时候把机动武器装在史派克步兵战车上啊，就是说可以用来拦截无人机之类的，就它本身是一个平台载台。
The 8-wheeled Stryker armored combat vehicle is the first new military vehicle to enter service in
史派克步兵战车肯定轻多了，我记得好像20多吨，对吧？
对，
像 M1，
它也是蛮壮的。
对啊，M1一辆坦克70多吨。
这是权重，战斗权重，它是把所有的装甲都装上的情况下。但如果是轻装的话，它是只有60吨左右。
The first Stryker vehicles were fielded back in 2002 with the first Stryker brigade combat team deploying to
现在也是，我觉得就是说，实际上我觉得现在各国的军费都不如以前了嘛，就是自从这个冷战结束之后，所以说大家为什么都愿意开发这个轮式战车，是因为轮式战车的整个的采购费用和保养费用以及这个整个这个维护费用，它都是比较低的，就是和这个履带式车辆相比，对不对？
是。
然后。它至少来说是保有这个，对于军队来说，它是能够保有一定的装甲和突击能力的一个比较好的手段，就是用比较少的钱办更多的事情嘛，我觉得。
并且它比较轻嘛，适合城市战。你 M1开到城市里面，可能一个胡同都进不去。就是美国就是因为有这个史派克步兵战车，它整个军队的建制也发生变化。它成立的这个叫史派克快速反应旅，它就是完全以史派克步兵战车为建制啊。它的要求是好像是能在1个星期还是3天之内，将整个旅的装备啊从一个地方转移到另外一个地方，强调是快速部署能力。
U.S. Army Rangers predating the Revolutionary War fought in the War of 1812 as part of the regular army and patrolled the frontier from Ohio to western Illinois.
这是美国著名的游骑兵。
With the likes of Daniel Boone and Abraham Lincoln in their ranks. After the 9/11 terrorist attacks, Rangers were called upon to lead the way into the global war on terrorism.
美国的特种部队分为各个等级啊，最强大的就是我知名的海豹6队，包括这个三角洲。那游骑兵是美国陆军中级别相对较低的特种部队。
It is always combat ready, mentally and physically tough, and prepared to fight our country's adversaries. The U.S. Army Special Operations Command is an elite group of individuals trained to lead and succeed in protecting the country from their threats. Composed of 5 units with unique specialties, Special Operations works in small tactical teams, taking on the most challenging and sensitive missions. Military legends to service members and civilians alike, they take on terrorists through quiet guerrilla war-style missions in foreign countries. Ladies and gentlemen, the U.S. Army's Special Forces. Ladies and gentlemen, the U.S. Army's Special Forces.
我们可以很明显从体型上看出来，这个美国游骑兵特种部队这个身材和刚才看到这个装甲式步兵师就完全不一样啊，因为特种部队都是经过这个特殊训练和挑选的。
他们整个的那个体型就特别的魁梧，就是瞅那个胸部啊，特别的强壮的感觉。
我觉得他们一个能打我5个。现在看到的又是这个史派克步兵战车的方阵。
Our network of allies and partners is an advantage that our adversaries can never hope to match. Over 80 nations have fought alongside the United States or assisted in during the global war on terrorism. Adversaries can never hope to match. Over 80 nations have fought alongside the United States or assisted in during the global war on terrorism.
俄内斯特，他其实是美国这个爱荷华州的这个参议员，他曾经也在美国陆军和这个预备役中服役过。当时这个美国国防部长赫格塞斯的这个任命听证会上啊，他其实是非常关键的一个人。他从一开始相对反对的态度，到最后转为支持。
In the 1990s, the division participated in numerous humanitarian and peacekeeping operations. During the war on terrorism, the 10th Mountain Division proved their mettle as light fighters through repeated deployments to Afghanistan and Iraq. Now, since 2002, the 10th Mountain Division, based out of Fort Drum, New York, has been the most deployed regular Army unit. Its combat brigades have seen over 20 deployments to both Iraq and Afghanistan in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom. To show America's military might, they have one purpose: to deter war and, if ordered, defeat the enemies of the United States of America. They are the 10th Mountain Division. Military might, they have one purpose: to deter war and, if ordered, defeat the enemies. Investments in cutting-edge systems, drone technology, and power capabilities strengthen the force, equipping soldiers with tools they need to protect the country and defend democracy. The Army has 8 Stryker Brigade combat teams, 6 in the active component and 2 in the National Guard. More than 2/3 of the 7,000 servicemen and women who sacrificed their lives fighting the global war on terrorism were part of one of the Army's 3 branches: active duty forces, the Army Reserve, and the Army National Guard. The Army is continuously transforming to deter aggression to ensure our adversaries cannot outrange or outpace us. This transformation is not just about adapting, it's about maintaining dominance, ensuring that America's Army remains unmatched in its speed, flexibility, and ability to support the nation's strategic priorities.
刚才出现的是美国预备役部队。那美国其实陆军有3部分组成啊，就是说现役部队、预备役和国民警卫队。那美国每次参战的时候，其实都将大量的这个预备役和这个国民警卫队转化为作战部队，包括当时海湾战争的时候，美国陆军常规部队目前大概只有12个师。
对，其中大部分来说，一共有3个是空降师，第10空降师。第82空降师和第101空降师，剩下其他呢也有重装甲师和这个普通的那个就是步兵师。它实际上它分布呢是您说，
我可以看到今天这个阅兵，这个史派克步兵战车出现的这个次数是最多的。
这是海马斯火箭炮了。
对，海马斯。哦，这是陆军部长，美国陆军部长，非常年轻，85年出生啊。赫格塞斯是80年，这2个人都非常30-40岁啊。马克可能和咱们差不多大，或者比我们大一点。
比我们小。
真的，这个陆军部长看起来就像大学生似的，你知道吗？
对对对，很青涩的感觉是吧？
很青涩，对对，但是他其实，在陆军服役过。
他是2007年到2011年在这个第10山地师服役过。他当时去的是伊拉克，对，在伊拉克。然后他服役的时间比较短，然后他就退役了，以中尉的这个身份，军衔退役的。然后呢，他就开始进入商界了。 我的声音能听清吗？刚才有反馈说我的声音小。
Special thanks to Palantir.
Palantir 这个是一个非常有名的这个软件公司，数据分析的软件公司。据说它和要 SpaceX 一起投标这个金琼系统。
对，它是人工智能结合的，非常厉害。
对。
它好像是要做一个，它有很多产品要做一个，就是结合人工智能的操作系统。
对，它应该是操作系统吧？因为它这次 SpaceX 和它还有这个安德烈尔工业，他们3家是想要投标，
对，
组成一个 team。安德烈尔也是这个人工智能很厉害的，特别是发展这个无人装备的这个一个很强的一个公司。
这几个公司最近几年股票涨得都挺好的。
现在这个美国的世界各国的军工股好像都是属于那个应该是看涨的状态。这个世界太乱了，所以说这个军费都在涨，然后呢装备都在买。
欧洲也是。
所以说这，詹姆斯。
我们现在看到大量就是美国作战主力啊 ，M1A2 埃布兰主战坦克。埃布兰它是以这个也叫埃布拉姆斯啊，它是以美国越南时期陆军这个总参谋长埃布拉姆斯命名的啊。他的儿子都在美国陆军服役啊，有一个4星中有中将，有做少将的。
就军人世家呀。
接下来，军人世家。那接下来将进入这个现代战争的系列，我们期待一下美国陆军会给我们展示什么样的这个武器装备。
Keeping the Army forces battle-ready and nimble makes transportation for the U.S. Army a very vital element. Spread across the parade today, numerous fighting vehicles, some designed for very specific functions and others for flexibility, but they all must be maintained. With over 200,000 trucks alone, wheeled vehicle mechanisms ensure that the fleet of vehicles are ready. These mechanics get the job done. This convoy starts with the M777, the lightweight howitzer. These lightweight howitzers may not look particularly lightweight, but are made from titanium. They are 7,000.
我们现在看到的就是 M777这个由钼合金制成的这个火炮，也是这次美国援助乌克兰的一个火炮，它看起来非常轻。它其实和其他火炮的不同是，除了它的精度和可靠性之外，它可以由直升机运输，甚至可以装在普通运输机里运输，使它能够达到全球快速部署。那乌克兰军队使用它以后，觉得它非常好，给它评价也是很高的 M777。
The 7th Infantry Division stationed at Joint Base Lewis McChord has been seeing continuous combat action ever since activation in World War I. From Europe to the Aleutian Islands, Japan, Korea, Afghanistan, and the Pacific, the Bayonet Division boasts a proud history of answering the call of its motto, Trust in Me, with resolute dedication. Sent to deployments and conflicts around the globe since it was founded, the division returned to Fort Lewis in 1971, its first time on American soil since 1934. The 7th Division, originally called the Hourglass Division due to their hatch design, gained the nickname Bayonet Division during their deployment to Korea in June of 1950. At Incheon Landing during the liberation of Seoul, They were credited with plunging the bayonet into the heart of the enemy, with 13 members of the division receiving the Medal of Honor. The 7th enables and sustains the combat readiness of 2 Stryker Brigade combat teams and a combat aviation brigade. The Medal of Honor. The 7th enables and sustains the combat readiness of 2 Stryker Brigade combat teams and a combat aviation brigade.
我们刚才看到的是，就是美国陆军第7师啊，第7师成立于1917年，是当时为了参加一战而设立的。在2战期间，他参加了这个阿留申战役、包括莱特湾战役和琉球群岛战役。那朝鲜战争时期的第7师成为美军主力之一，参加过这个仁川登陆之后的向北推进以及重要的长津湖战役。
Aside from its people, the Army's next greatest asset is its technology and equipment. Coming up next, these vehicles offer a glimpse of what the Army employs for readiness and battle. The portable howitzers and the portable Abrams tank were used extensively in the Gulf War along with Bradley tanks and the infantry squad vehicle. The ISV provides enhanced tactical
我
mobility
们
of
看着
an
这个
infantry
美军的这个
brigade
装甲
combat
部队，
team.
基本上就是
This allows
还是以这
commanders
个
greater
史
freedom
派
to
克
spot
装
and
甲
action.
装甲
The
车来为主
ISV
的，我们看到它出现的数量呢就能看得出来。
infantry
然后 M2步兵战车呢又是跟史派克可能是就是一起合作协同作战的。
一般美国现在这个机械化步兵师主要是以史派克步兵战车为主 ，M1是搭配 M2使用的。
现在士兵已经很少坐卡车那种就是移动了，那基本上来说不是步兵战车就是一些轻型的战术车辆。 以前有悍马车啦，还有现在是 GLTV 那种。
还有我们看到一些小朋友啊，他们可能父亲啊，或者是家里有长辈在军队服役。
实际上，在这个我们在印象当中，美国陆军是那个印象不是很深刻，实际上是往往给我们印象深刻的是美国海军和空军，好像陆军的那个出兵率不是很高，但实际上我们也看到，就是重大的战争当中，最后还是要靠陆军，最后的路面去解决这个问题。空军和海军呢是扫平一开始的这个重要的这个障碍。 然后或者是把那个敌方的主要的这个通讯啊和这个防空武器击毁，再有一个就是重要的这个军事基地啊事先的摧毁，但是最后能够解决问题还是要靠陆军。
你像当年空军。 以前空军它还是陆军航空兵啊，这2战之后才独立出来的军种。现在空军的预算，这个是最受重视的。
From Fort Bragg, witness a powerful demonstration of strength, purpose, and the unmatched capability of today's Army.
The Army has made me see my potential, and I feel like it's molded me into a better person.
I grew up in a very patriotic household. My grandfather, he served in World War II, and his brother, my uncle, served in Vietnam. I can do this. If they can do this, I can do this.
When I was born, my dad was still serving in the military, and him coming home in his uniform, I'm like, yeah, I want to do that.
Clear for takeoff. My motivation, I think it follows in line, I think, with what my family's done is kind of a sense of duty to serve our country and give back since it's given us so much.
I'm a very, let's say, timid person, but definitely helped me become a more confident person.
working with a group with my peers, it really shows how much working with a team can strengthen you.
All right, ready to go? Ready to go? I derive a lot of purpose from serving others. I think serving something bigger than myself gets me out of bed every day. If you follow it up,
I definitely pushed myself further than I ever thought I could go.
I joined the military service because I want to deploy. That's my main goal, is deploy, deploy, deploy.
If we get the call, we have to go somewhere, we'll do what needs to be done. That's just the way we operate here.
This is one of the few jobs in the nation where we all take an oath to say, I'm willing to put my life on the line for you, and they're willing to put their life on the line for me.
This is what we train for. This is what we want to do. My team leaders and squad leaders, they know exactly what to do. Check equipment, check weapons, check ammo.
We're always ready to deploy within 18 hours and handle the mission at task. We jump so frequently so that our jump masters and the paratroopers are ready to deploy.
I'm very passionate about being a jump master. The paratroopers, they see you and, you know, they believe in you. I love to instill that confidence with my passion into those paratroopers. It's a rush. It's great.
Drop them cleared for personnel drop.
This week we honor 250 years of valor and glory and triumph by the greatest fighting force ever to walk the face of the earth, the United States Army. For 2.5 centuries, our soldiers have marched into the raging fires of battle and obliterated America's enemies.
I love the Army. It is a great place to set yourself up for success, to prepare yourself for the future.
God bless you, God bless our soldiers, and God bless the U.S. Army.
Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson, Alaska is the home to America's Arctic Angels, who execute expeditionary operations worldwide, conduct multi-domain operations in the Indo-Pacific Theater and the Arctic, and on order decisively defeat any adversary in extreme cold weather, mountainous and high-latitude environments through large-scale combat operations. The Angels are the Army's only Arctic division. Masters of Arctic warfare, the 11th serves worldwide in all climates. Established in November of 1942, the Angels of the 11th Airborne Division led the way in the Philippines during World War II and spearheaded an amphibious invasion of Luzon and distinguished themselves during the liberation of Manila. After periods spent inactive and stationed in Germany from 1963 to 65, the division operated as the 11th Air Assault Division with the mission of testing and refining the Army's helicopter-centric air mobility doctrine. Activated once again in June of 2022, they remain dedicated to defending America's interests throughout the Arctic, in Alaska, and beyond. The 11th Airborne Division, America's Arctic Angels. They remain dedicated to defending America's interests throughout the Arctic.
我们现在看到的是美国陆军第11空降师。那该师其实是在2022年又重新组建的啊。美国之前主要是82空降师、101空中突击师。现在美国陆军有12个师，就是这个第11空降师是全新组建。那该师呢，其实目前部署在这个阿拉斯加方向，它其实是为了就是亚太战场作战所准备的，特别是台海包括日本前线。那美国现在的空降师，它要求是能够在36小时到72小时之间部署1/3的兵力，专门就是用于这个应对全球的紧急作战情况。现在出现的是 JLTV 战术车类，
进行战车，进行越野车。
又是布莱德利步兵战车。
JLTV。这悍马车还后边还可以拖带那个小型的火炮，实际上那个 M77-15榴弹炮也可以由悍马车来拖带。
M77非常轻啊。
这是海马斯火箭炮。这个海马斯火箭炮在这个在乌克兰战场上是大出风头。比如说，为它的现在订单已经是，都是几百台，实际上是波兰订了差不多500辆。
是啊，所以不是韩国又开发了自己那个火箭炮吗？波兰也要买，因为这个海马斯这个订单排的太多了。
它生产不过来。那台湾也订了，就是29门那个海马斯
29对，
去年交付了
11台，好像已经交付了，对吧？对，11门，第二批是18门。主要海马斯它现在主要是对远程防御能力和精确打击能力。这个海马斯它除了可以发射这个75公里的精确制导火箭弹以外还可以发射 ATACMS， 也就是陆军战术导弹啊，它的射程大概是300公里。早期型号的射程大概是150公里啊。现在乌克兰使用的很多 ATACMS 其实是美军的早期型号。当然，美国陆军目前在开发新一代的这个战术导弹，叫做 PRSM 精准打击导弹。它的标准版射程能达到500公里，而它的增程版本能达到900公里啊。刚才画面中闪现的又是海马斯。那 PRSM 这个精准打击导弹，它甚至有反舰版本啊！如果能达到900公里，又有反舰版本，就意味着如果台湾购买的话，就是说从台湾到东海到南海，这个射程都是可以覆盖的。但是 PRSM 的交付时间可能还有1至2年的时间，并且美国陆军会优先采购。
好像还没有说台湾想要采购 PRSM 的这个消息。因为
没有，
它也是陆军美国刚刚那个就是进入量产阶段。
对。不过川普任内也说不定。
川普也是推动这个各个国家买美国军火，这样的话来减少这个顺差嘛。
对，
来减少与美国的逆差。
并且他要求台湾防卫这个自主性更好，那买更多的武器，当然是川普愿意看到的。
对，
这又是 M777。就美国阅兵的这个氛围给人感觉很轻松啊，不像中共或者是朝鲜、俄罗斯，就是非常一板一眼，或者是那个气氛比较肃穆一点啊。
对。 实际上，美国的这种游行，各种游行都是比较轻松的，不会像其他国家那么整齐。对，不会像那种其他国家那种整齐划一的，非得要保持那个就是整齐齐的那种感觉。我觉得美国人他并不是这么想，这也是美国自由的这种象征吧。
Reserve organizations furnished crucial manpower to the Army during World War I, merged into 1920 into the Organization of Organized Reserve. During World War II, the Army activated 26 organized reserve infantry divisions, and roughly a quarter of the Army's officer corps came from the reserve during the conflict. During the Korean War, the Organized Reserve Corps was reorganized and redesignated the U.S. Army Reserve. The Army Reserve has since served as a vital source of manpower for the force during times of need, gradually transitioning from a strategic force to an operational force in response to the pressures of the war on terrorism. In the 170,000 Army Reserve soldiers and 11,000 civilians serving their home communities, and when needed, they can quickly mobilize. The Army can't deploy, they can't fight or win without the Army Reserve. They are an important component of Army readiness. Let's have a big hand for the Army Reserve. The Army can't deploy, they can't fight or win without the Army Reserve. They are an important component of Army readiness. Let's have a big hand for the Army Reserve. Today and tomorrow's Army looks to increase safety and survivability, create efficiency and streamline processes. The Striker is a great example of assessing evolving needs and developing the solution. Strikers provide a balance between heavy armor and infantry brigade and combat teams. Strikers is a great example of assessing evolving needs and developing the solution. Strikers provide a balance between heavy armor and infantry brigade and combat teams.
现在看到画面还是史派克步兵战车啊，可以看到这次阅兵主角史派克步兵战车布拉德利，包括这个 M109自走炮，那这些武器它有些出现了已经有一定年头了。那有的人一直质疑说美国用的是旧装备啊，其实不是这样的。我们以海马斯为例啊，其实海马斯它作为一个战术车辆，它也出现了有相当年头了，并且它使用的也不是什么就是看起来多么先进的精确制导火箭弹，类似的技术很多国家也有，陆军战术导弹其他国家也有，但是武器质量、精准度各方面原因决定了像海马斯这样的武器啊，能够在乌克兰战场发挥至关重要的作用啊，并且现在成为了国际军火市场上的抢手货。
实际上，美国这些军备呢，都是经过那种大量的那个实战考验的。几乎所有的这些我们看到的这个所有的这个车辆啊，它都是参加过实战的。所以说，为什么美国军火能够就是长久不衰，也是长盛不衰，也是因为它这些东西都是在这个实际作战当中展现了它的实力的。
现在已经是当地时间晚上7点30分，我们可以看到现场仍然这个光线非常充足，旁观的观众依然非常多。
When Americans hear the name Bastogne, they remember one of World War II's most heroic defenses, the Battle of the Bulge. Surrounded by German forces in the frozen forests of Belgium in December 1944, soldiers of the 101st Airborne held the line. Battle of the Bulge. Surrounded by German forces in the frozen forests of Belgium in December 1944, soldiers of the 101st Airborne held the line.
今天本来说华盛顿特区会有雷暴的天气，但是没想到感觉还不错嘛，整个天气。
对，今天感觉整个是阴天，所以这个气温也不错，也没有下雨。
也不是很晒，对于现场的人来说也比较舒服的天气。
刚才出现在画面中的是这个川普政府的谈判特使维特科夫，对，包括伊朗谈判、这个俄乌战争谈判啊，它都起到了很关键的作用。我们知道啊，最近这个以色列和伊朗是大打出手，当然川普政府一再向伊朗暗示啊，你还有机会回到谈判桌前。那这次以色列和伊朗战争其实也体现出这个美制武器的这个优秀，包括质量，因为以色列使用的全部都是美国装备啊，空军的 F-15、F-16和 F-35。不过今天是陆军阅兵啊，所以我们可能看不到太多空军的装备。
没有空军的装备出现。我一直在想 H-64阿帕奇为什么没有出现呢？
对，阿帕奇是可以，我还或者支路干也可以啊，支路干看着也很过瘾。
对，刚才那个陆军的那个宣传片里边就有，阿帕奇和支路干。
Modern, mobile, and mission-ready, the Bastogne Brigade continues to adapt to new threats while staying rooted in the fierce resilience that defined its birth. They are carrying the next-generation squad weapons, the XM7 and XM250, both equipped with the XM157 optics. The vehicles are the infantry squad vehicle, a new mobility asset that can rapidly move through most terrain types. The trailer is the S-MET, and it's capable of carrying heavy loads under its own power through restrictive terrain. This platoon is equipped with 3 types of small unmanned aerial systems. They are the Ghost X, located on the S-MET, the C-100, and right above us there, the X-10D, which are flying above the formation right now. The C-100, and right above us there, the X-10D, which are flying above the formation right now.
现在美国展示的是这个未来部队装备一些武器，包括头顶上飞的是 X-10D 无人机，它看起来是一个很简单的4旋翼无人机。其实美国的无人机技术非常发达，美国陆军装备了一种像蜂鸟大小、手掌大小的一种这种侦察无人机，专门用于单兵使用。包括在这次乌克兰战争中，其实大家越来越看到无人机对现代战争的影响。那美国陆军也在不断研发相应的武器。那美国陆军主要做2方面的准备，一方面是开发自己的无人机，第2方面是开发反制无人机的武器装备。这方面就是以激光武器为主。那美国的激光武器不仅装备在了海军的伯克级驱逐舰上，也装在了我们刚才看到史派克步兵战车上。在2024年的时候啊，美国陆军就曾经将史派克步兵战车搭载激光武器派遣到约旦等中东地区进行测试。因为我们知道啊，激光武器它对于这个雾霾、沙尘天气是非常敏感的，因为它主要是靠的是光嘛。所以经过这个中东的测试，相信美国未来的激光武器将会更加可靠。现在展示的是美国这个未来特种部队，非常帅气啊，穿着迷彩，手持无人机。
他们用的那个枪，他们挎的枪，那个 SM7，也是未来的美军下一代的这个步枪装备，单兵装备。
你看美国这个特种部队阅兵也是跟平时走路一样，也没有队形。
像这种目前这种小型的 LPV 无人机，在这个俄乌战争当中发挥了很大的作用，就跟精准炮弹一样在使用。
Bradley accompanies American troops often with the M1A1 Abrams tank, nicknamed the Beast, and Whispering Death because of its firepower, accuracy while moving, and its stealth. Together, they offer mobility and firepower, a fearsome combination. And Whispering Death because of its firepower, accuracy while moving, and its stealth. Together, they offer mobility and firepower, a fearsome combination.
那刚才出现在画面中的还是埃布兰主战坦克啊，现在是海马斯。其实美国已经在开发新一代的叫埃布拉姆斯 X 型坦克啊，这个坦克将融合所谓的人工智能，也就是辅助射击。就我们知道，就是你就像特斯拉这个车一样啊，你装备这人工智能之后，首先你可以自主行走，同时呢，你还可以识别目标啊。但是呢，人工智能第一步啊，它永远是去辅助你，因为这个和你开车不太一样，因为坦克涉及到是人的生死存亡，所以它会帮助你确定目标，但是最终仍然由人来确认。那这是美国正在开发的埃布拉姆斯 X。马克，你觉得埃布拉姆斯和豹2坦克，你更喜欢哪一个？
我那个以前我采访过那个就是叫阿海的，他原来是海军陆战队的一个那个队员，他曾经是专门是做这个坦克兵的，他后来就说，就是他自己的体验来说，他也感觉就是他就是 M1和这个豹2，它的初始设计是一样的，只是说豹2坦克呢，他觉得那个里边采用的科技的那个现代化的科技因素更多一些。他觉得比较炫，但是呢，因为他自己本身是开那个 M1坦克的，所以说他感觉呢，就是说 M1呢，就是他认为是比较
阿帕奇来了，马克，
阿帕奇来
现在在空中飞过的就是美国陆军航空队的阿帕奇武装攻击机。
The aircraft you see here is configured with a sophisticated targeting radar system and can operate in poor visibility and in the black of night. With more than 1,280 aircraft in operation accumulating over 5 million flight hours, 1.3 million of which have been in combat, the AH-64 Apache represents the backbone of the U.S. Army's attack helicopter fleet and a growing number of international defense forces. In combat, the AH-64 Apache represents the backbone of the U.S. Army's attack helicopter fleet and a growing number of international defense forces.
现在出现在画面中的是美国大名鼎鼎的黑鹰直升机啊。我们知道中共最近开发出的这个直20，它其实就是仿制美国的黑鹰。在80年代的时候，中国当时和美国蜜月期从美国引进了这个民用款的这个黑鹰直升机，后来加以仿制。那黑鹰直升机是世界上可靠性最好，然后产量最多的现代直升机之一。
它的产量可能没有那个俄罗斯的米八多，但是当然那个它的性能远远超过米八了。洛希德马丁的广
告。机器狗出现了。
The Army Research Laboratory robot dogs reflect the latest in Army innovation. Look at this. Much like a true canine, these robots can go where soldiers cannot. They have increased mobility, improved tactical awareness, reduced risk to soldiers, and enhanced teamwork. Replacing soldiers, robot dogs can explore terrain that may be difficult for soldiers to traverse, dispose of explosive ordnance, and act in defensive posture or aggressive capacity when armed. Robot dogs can explore terrain that may be difficult for soldiers to traverse, dispose of explosive ordnance, and act in defensive posture or aggressive capacity when armed.
我们刚才看到了机器狗啊，现在空中飞过的是黑鹰直升机啊。我们都知道，这个著名的波士顿动力是开发机器狗以及先进机器人最先进的公司。现在大家画面中看到是支奴干运输机，大型运输机啊。
The Ghost Robot Dog is another innovation that can adapt seamlessly for various missions from recon to bomb recognition. These dogs reduce risk and support soldiers completely in high-stakes missions.
现在画面中出现的又是美国全新研制的机器狗，在机器狗画面的后方有一个很特殊的这个车辆，可能是美国未来的一种无人驾驶车辆。
应该是 M5那个就是无人车。不过机器狗虽然说那个好像是就是很有比如很有突然性，但是呢，就是它的航程啊，还有它的这个抗干扰能力还是有限的。
我们现在看到的就是美国未来研制的一些武器啊，这个应该是 GVSC 研制的这个无人的战车 MAT 对，可以看到它体积非常小，和刚才的这个埃布兰相比，简直就是一个小玩具。这空中又是支奴干直升机，支奴干是超大型重型直升机啊，它前后2个螺旋桨。
As the oldest continuously serving Army band and the oldest unit at West Point, this is the United States Military Academy Band, ladies and gentlemen. West Point
我们现在看到是美国军事学院的军乐团，美国军事学院就是著名的西点军校 West Point。
Over the next 2 centuries, this band evolved into one of the most capable and versatile performing groups in the world. Pfeiffer appointed by George Washington during the American Revolution. Over the next 2 centuries, this band evolved into one of the most capable and versatile performing groups in the world. One of the most prestigious institutions in the world where leadership is forged and duty becomes destiny. This is West Point, where Army leaders are made. With the motto of duty, honor, and country, West Point trains the best and brightest to serve their country as Army officers. Founded back in 1802 by President Thomas Jefferson, West Point is the home of the Long Gray Line, a legacy of courage and excellence that includes 77 Medal of Honor recipients, 2 U.S. presidents, Grant and Eisenhower, and numerous generals, including John J. Pershing, Douglas MacArthur, and Norman Schwarzkopf. Includes 77 Medal of Honor recipients, 2 U.S. presidents, Grant and Eisenhower, and numerous generals, including John J. Pershing, Douglas MacArthur, and Norman Schwarzkopf. Upon entering the United States Army, all recruits undergo initial entry training, a highly intense and a challenging training period aimed at developing a soldier's physical and mental toughness, instill discipline, train them in essential combat skills, and foster teamwork. IET transforms civilians into soldiers based on the 7 core Army values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. IET transforms civilians into soldiers based on the 7 core Army values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. The Virginia Military Institute, on a mission to produce citizen soldiers, men and women educated for civilian life, prepared to serve their country in the armed forces. VMI counts a Nobel Prize winner, 11 Rhodes Scholars, generals, 7 Medal of Honor recipients, and a Pulitzer Prize winner among its graduates. As one of the nation's senior military colleges, students at Virginia Military Institute can participate in Army ROTC or the Corps of Cadets. While cadets in the Corps can serve in any branch of the United States military or pursue other careers, those in Army ROTC earn their commission as officers, ready to serve on active duty in the National Guard or Army Reserve. Each year, the Army Senior ROTC Blue Ridge Battalion commissions approximately 130 second lieutenants, ensuring that excellence in leadership continues in generations to come. Army Senior ROTC Blue Ridge Battalion commissions approximately 130 second lieutenants. The Citadel, the military college of South Carolina, offers students the opportunity to participate in Army ROTC or the historic Corps of Cadets. Founded in 1842, the Citadel is the 3rd oldest of the senior military colleges and is known for its Corps of Cadets living and studying under a classical military system that makes leadership and character development essential. While military service is not required at graduation, more than 120 students earn their commission each year through the Army Senior ROTC Palmetto Battalion, playing a vital role in shaping the future. addition, more than 120 students earn their commission each year through the Army Senior ROTC Palmetto Battalion. One of the nation's senior military colleges, Texas A&M University, is home to both Army ROTC and the renowned Corps of Cadets. The Corps of Cadets' central purposes has remained building individuals that exemplify respect, excellence, leadership, loyalty, integrity, and selfless service. Students at the university who participate in the Army ROTC earn their commission as officers ready to serve on active duty in the National Guard or Army Reserve. Each year, the Army Senior ROTC Warrior Training Battalion at Texas A&M proudly commissions more than 90 second lieutenants and is honored to shape the future leaders of the U.S. Army. The Army Senior ROTC Warrior Training Battalion at Texas A&M proudly commissions more than 90 second lieutenants and is honored to shape the future leaders of the U.S. Army. In a powerful display of commitment, these future soldiers will raise their right hand and take an oath of enlistment, pledging to serve our nation. This joint formation is proudly led by the Joint Task Force, National Capital Region, and the Military District of Washington Retention Team, pledging to serve our nation. This joint formation is proudly led by the Joint Task Force, National Capital Region, and the Military District of Washington Retention Team. Shaping tomorrow's Army, West Point's most inspiring cadets remind us that America's future is courageous and in capable hands. Shaping tomorrow's Army, West Point's most inspiring cadets remind us that America's future is courageous and in capable hands.
Every day I put on the uniform, I'm not just representing Caroline Robinson. I'm representing my company here at the Academy. I'm representing West Point. I'm representing the United States Army, and ultimately, I'm representing the United States of America.
I really came to West Point because belief in the American dream and giving back to our country.
You're a part of something that is much bigger than yourself. You're a part of a tradition of excellence and a legacy that's connected not only to the Academy, but to the American Army.
I'm surrounded by people who want to make themselves better and serve our country.
Excellence is their baseline, and that to me is what it means to be a West Point cadet.
From the earliest days of our nation, this supreme tradition of American military service has been passed down from soldier to soldier and generation to generation, and it's a beautiful thing to watch.
My brother preceded me here, and originally I didn't really know what West Point was until he came. But when I saw the mission that they were committed to, of upholding the principles of American democracy and protecting the Constitution, I knew it was somewhere I had to be.
Every time that we lived outside of the United States, I always developed this sense of gratitude and pride for being an American, and I wanted to give back to my country what it gave to me.
And it wasn't until I zipped up the blouse and I put the belt on for the first time that I realized that I was going to be serving my country, and it felt right. West Point was the place that I needed to be, and more importantly, the Army was where I wanted to be.
I just looked to the left and right over basic training and realized that we all had the same American patch on our shoulders, that we're all fighting for the same thing. I mean, there was no better feeling in the world knowing that every single person around you is committed and willing to die for that mission.
You came for excellence, you came for duty, you came to serve your country, and you came to show yourselves that you are among the smartest, toughest, strongest, most lethal warriors ever to walk on this planet.
What excites me the most about my future in the Army is the opportunity that I'm going to have to give back to the American soldiers that I'm going to be leading.
Because ultimately, they don't get to choose. And to me, it's that burden of responsibility to be the best leader.
And as a young officer, that's going to be exactly what I get to do.
I was the cadet basic training first detail for the first 3 weeks. I got to see the new cadets come in from their families' homes and being in process on their very first day. And watching them grow so quickly.
I would do all the formations, and I looked out at these 1,000 new cadets, people who just come out of high school. They were completely different people.
I don't think there's another institution in the country like West Point where the student body is so committed to furthering the mission of America and ensuring our democracy and freedom for generations to come.
I'm really surrounded by the best of the best, and that's when I realized this is a place that I absolutely want to be.
West Point itself is an amazing institution, but it only provides opportunities. The people here have to choose to take those opportunities and grow and lead and serve. And the people here want to do that. And I'm proud to be a part of that. And I would tell any high schooler who is considering it, you won't regret it.
Left. Face. Mr. President, First Sergeant Norton reporting for duty, sir. Ready to commence the ceremony as directed.
I state your name.
Mr. President, I
Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Congratulations, congratulations. Welcome to the United States Army, and have a great life. Thank you very much. Have a great life. Thank you.
Ranger School is the best life insurance policy for our Army. It will always end with two people facing off with each other, and we need young leaders to be able to close with and destroy the enemy and defend our nation's interests forward.
Surrender is not a Ranger word. It's not an option.
I know that I'm not going to be able to get to do this again. This is my chance.
It all starts at the legendary Ranger School, the crucible where these elite warriors are forged. It has been described as the longest approved gut check in the Army. Over 62 days, students will patrol hundreds of miles over mountains and through swamps under the crushing weight of their equipment. All the while, they are deprived of both food and sleep, forced to perform at the very edge of their physical limits. But it's not just the physical challenges that make Ranger School so intense. The mental strain will break these soldiers down to their core.
If I have a come-to-God moment, I have to take my PC off my patrol cap. And on the inside of that, my commander gave me a Ranger tab, the yellow and black one that you get during graduation. And I pinned it to the inside of my PC.
Ranger School is not for the faint of heart, but for those who are up to the challenge, it is the ultimate proving ground.
They already didn't have enough beds for people in our company. And our eyes reminded us that we don't have enough beds because there's not going to be this many people by tomorrow. Just a slight reminder of that. There's too many of you anyways, and not all of you are going to pass.
Rangers, if you don't figure it out, you're about to get another casualty.
It's completely different than what people would think Ranger School is like, but you can't put that into words, so it's hard to tell somebody something that you have to experience for yourself.
They got a saying, it's called as the tab turns. So Ranger School is continuing to change and to develop, but at the end of the day, it is the same, right? They're always going to put you in scenarios that is going to test with your ability to actually make decisions on the ground.
As you go through Ranger School, it is a gut check. It's going to check you out. And what's going to get you through it is whether you have it or not. Thousands and thousands of soldiers train all their lives to come here, prepare themselves to come to Ranger School, and only a few hundred leave here every class with the tab. It's not for everyone.
I'm not going to leave until I get it. So just buckle down, stop complaining, and just get the job done.
Please welcome country music sensation and proud supporter of our troops, Warren Ziders. Please welcome country music sensation and proud supporter of our troops, Warren Ziders.
Like she knows I'm lonely. Rolls up when a wine's gone like a record on repeat. Laying on old memories and talking about what we used to be. She'd probably be the death of me, but damn if it ain't sweet. She's my pretty little poison, my heartache in the night with a kiss on. That she wants me. Try my best not to fall where she falls into me. We all need some kind of fix. For me, she's the one to pick. Nothing else will do the trick. She's all I need. She's my pretty little poison, my heartache in the night with a kiss on her. Just like cyanide. Yeah, she came with a warning, but I didn't mind. I'll go out on that high every time. She's my pretty little poison, my pretty little poison. For some, I guess it's alcohol. I don't want none at all. I just want you. No, I just want you. My pretty little poison, my heartache in the night with a kiss on her lips just like cyanide. Yeah, she came with a warning, but I Not gonna lie, y'all, I'm nervous. But I would just like to say thank you so much for having me here tonight. I am just so fortunate to be here in front of y'all. And thank you guys so much for what you guys do. And honestly, happy birthday, y'all. Happy birthday. This next song was loved by y'all. So if you know the words, please sing along. This song's called Ride the Lightning, y'all. She did. One foot in the flames and the other trying to walk the line. Can't say I never saw it coming, I could see the warning signs. Mama always said I was born on the wild side. I guess Mama was right, 'cause when the clock strikes midnight, gonna ride the lightning, feel the thunder till the darkness pulls me under. Gonna fly on wings of fire, breathing good, Lord lifts me high, singing oh when they call me on, singing oh when they call me on. Gonna ride the lightning. I see you singing, my friend. There's a man in a black coat standing at a crossroads, with a pen in his hand and a long list of lost souls. They say he flips a coin, fools let the fools go. There's a man in a black coat standing at a crossroads. I hope he lets me pass by when I close my eyes. Gonna ride the lightning, feel the thunder till the darkness pulls me under. Gonna fly on wings of fire, breathing good, Lord lifts me high, singing oh when they call me on, singing oh when they call me on. Gonna ride the lightning, ride the lightning, ride the lightning. We got one more chorus, y'all. Gonna ride the lightning, feel the thunder till the darkness pulls me under. Gonna fly on wings of fire, breathing good, Lord lifts me high, singing oh when they call me on, singing oh when they call me on. Gonna ride the lightning, gonna ride the lightning. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody here, everybody that has attended tonight, I just want to say thank you so much. And I'll leave y'all with this. I'm Warren's Otters, y'all. Thanks for having me. It has been my honor, ladies and gentlemen. I really mean that. Thank you so much. Happy birthday to the Army. Happy birthday to our President, Donald Trump. Amen, y'all. God bless America, baby!
This week we honor 250 years of valor and glory and triumph by the greatest fighting force ever to walk the face of the earth, the United States Army. Each of you on the field today is among the most talented members of your generation. You could have done anything you wanted. You could have gone anywhere. You could have gone to any school. Matt's incredible heroism helped ensure that not a single American soldier died in the Battle of Shock Valley. For 2.5 centuries, our soldiers have marched into the raging fires of battle and obliterated America's enemies. The dignity, daring, and devotion of the American military is unrivaled anywhere in history and any place in the world. Our soldiers do not rest until they win. Our citizens know that you're standing guard, killing terrorists, crushing our enemies, and keeping America safe. But you're also keeping it strong and proud and mighty and free. This week we remember that we only have a country because we first had an army. As President of the United States, let me express my undying gratitude for every soldier here today, for every veteran and their incredible families, and for every patriot who has worn the uniform. Our debt to you is infinite and everlasting. With the grace of God, America will always prevail. With the grace of God, America will always prevail.
Well, let me say to the thousands of Americans who traveled from distant towns and across state lines to be here today, this is your national capital. Welcome to Washington, D.C. We are thrilled to have you. This evening, as we celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States Army, the oldest branch of the greatest fighting force ever known to man, I want to say to all the soldiers all across our nation's capital and all across the world, happy birthday, soldiers. We're proud of you. And I want to say you represent an unbroken line of greatness, of excellence. And one of the things the President of the United States has told his entire administration, from the Vice President on down, is that we must remember that the young men and women who put on the uniform and serve this nation are our most precious resource. We must honor them, we must respect them, we must fight for them, and that's exactly what the Trump administration aims to do every single day. And so to our soldiers, we're so proud of you, and let me tell you that the way that we honor and respect you is, number one, we never ask you to go to war unless you absolutely have to. And number two, when we do ask you to go to war, we give you the weapons and the support needed to kick the hell out of the enemy and come back home safely. Now, I know I am the last thing standing between events, and that is a dangerous place to be with a lot of soldiers in the audience. So let me just say a couple of quick additional thoughts. First of all, June the 14th is, of course, the birthday of the Army. It is, of course, the birthday of the President of the United States, and happy birthday, Mr. President. But I would get in trouble if I didn't mention that it's also my wedding anniversary. And so to my lovely wife, I love you, honey, happy anniversary, and thank you for everything that you do for our country. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce the 45th and 47th Commander-in-Chief of the United States military, President Donald J. Trump.
Thank you to Vice President Vance, and thank you to our wonderful First Lady, and above all, thank you to the greatest, fiercest, and bravest fighting force ever to stride the face of this earth, the United States Army. Thank you very much. Because the Army keeps us free, you make us strong, and tonight, you have made all Americans very proud. They're watching from all over the world, actually. Made them all very proud. Every other country celebrates their victories. It's about time America did too. That's what we're doing tonight. And watching this magnificent display, our souls are filled with gratitude for every generation of warriors who have worn the uniform all the way back to the very beginning. So to every veteran across our land, and right here in our nation's capital, including 6 recipients of the Congressional Medal of Honor, we love you, we honor you, and we salute your noble service to our flag and to our country. As we celebrate tonight, we also think of the hundreds of thousands of Army soldiers who have made the supreme sacrifice for our nation and selflessly laid down their lives in every war, from the Revolution to the War on Terror. To the Gold Star families with us today, the courage of your heroes is the bedrock on which our entire nation stands. We thank you. Yes, we thank you. Today we commemorate an event that did not just change American history, but changed the history of the entire world. With the creation of America's Army on June 14th, 1775, liberty got its shield and the freedom got its sword. Those first Army patriots in the American Revolution fought against a fearsome enemy and impossible odds, but they were armed with a righteous cause. They were led by an indomitable commander, a truly great man, General George Washington, and they were united by an eternal creed. Their motto was victory or death. Over the past 2.5 centuries, our warriors have shown unrivaled valor on fields of battle around the globe. With the frostbitten feet and bloody fist, they have marched into the flames and fury of combat, charged up mountains, stormed beaches, waded through torrents of gunfire, and leapt into skies thick with smoke and shrapnel. The U.S. Army has driven bayonets into the heart of sinister empires, crushed the ambitions of evil tyrants. Beneath the threads of American tanks, it's done so well, it's done so much, and sent the devil himself flying into full retreat. Time and again, America's enemies have learned that if you threaten the American people, our soldiers are coming for you, your defeat will be certain, your demise will be final, and your downfall will be total and complete. Because our soldiers never give up, never surrender, and never, ever quit. They fight, 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 and they win, win, win. And that's why no institution in history has entered more names into the roster of American heroes than the U.S. Army, the Congressional Medal of Honor, more than anyone or anything. There was Mad Anthony Wayne, asked by George Washington to lead a daring midnight raid up the cliffs of Stony Point with unloaded muskets and only their bayonets to fight the redcoats. Mad Anthony replied, "Issue the order, sir, and I will storm into hell for you." Then there was the Civil War general, John Corse, shot in the face in combat. He fired off a message to his commander: "I am short a cheekbone and one ear, but I am able to whip the hell out of all of them." He stayed on the front lines, it seemed forever. In World War II, there was the great Creighton Abrams, besieged on all sides by the Nazis at the Battle of the Bulge. He boldly proclaimed, "They've got us surrounded again, the poor bastards." This is the fighting spirit and unyielding force of the U.S. Army. It has never changed, and it will never, ever change, because there is no earthly force more powerful than the brave heart of a U.S. infantryman or an Army Ranger, paratrooper, or Green Beret. They are the best, they are the finest. From Bunker Hill to San Juan Hill, from Gettysburg to Guadalcanal, from Yorktown to Shiloh, and from the trenches of the Argonne to the mountains of Afghanistan, the Army has forged a legacy of unmatched courage, untold sacrifice, and unequaled and undying glory. Our soldiers have poured out their blood by the bucketful on Missionary Ridge and Heartbreak Ridge, on the sands of Sicily, Normandy, and the Philippines, and on the dusty streets of Da Nang, Baghdad, and Fallujah. Thanks to their extraordinary service and devotion, 250 years later, America stands tall, America stands proud, and America stands free. We're the hottest country in the world right now, and our country will soon be greater and stronger than ever before. Down through history, we've been blessed beyond words by this valiant legion of Army warriors and patriots, heroes and legends. And tonight we affirm with unwavering certainty that in the years ahead and in every generation hence, whenever duty calls and whatever danger comes, the American soldier will be there. No matter the risk, no matter the obstacles, our warriors will charge into battle. They will plunge into the crucible of fire, and they will seize the crown of victory, because the United States of America will always have the grace of Almighty God and the iron will of the United States Army. Congratulations to everybody. We love our country. We've never done better. Thank you. God bless you. God bless the Army, and God bless America. And now I'd like to ask our great First Lady to join me at the podium. Thank you very much, everybody.
Mr. President, on behalf of the United States Army, the Army Golden Knights, I would like to present to you this flag, which was flown over our nation's capital in free fall during the Army's 250th birthday celebration.
Work for all my life, and I had to start again, just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause our flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Happy birthday, Mr. President. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, Detroit to Houston, and New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, sing it with me. I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land.
音乐会吗？还有，然后。
那我们刚才看到的是川普总统演讲和副总统范斯的演讲啊，在演讲过后呢，今天的活动马上也将进入尾声，接下来呢，我们将迎来烟火的表演。可以看到啊，现在在华盛顿啊，这个夕阳已经落山，天色渐晚一会儿呢，我们大家会看到更绚丽的这个火花。那关于阅兵的部分基本结束了啊，不知道马克啊。您看了这个阅兵有什么感想呢？这毕竟是这个30年来美国第一次大阅兵。
对，倒确实挺有感慨的，就是看到了这个，250年来这个美国这个陆军的这么一个发展，但是我也有点遗憾，就是说他这次的这个阅兵当中，他有很多武器，实际上我觉得还没有充分的展示吧。那可能更多的就是还有待于这个包括未来的这部分上，我觉得美军的展示还是比较少的，这样它也有很多东西可以拿出来。但我们也只看到了这个机器狗啊，还有一些这个无人战车的这个原型车啊之类的。实际上来说，美军的这种技术储备和各方面呢也有很多。那么我们这次有点没有看到，但是当然了，我也看到就是说，在这个整个的这个历史长河当中啊，虽然是250年。不是很长，但是美国从一个就是一个英属的殖民地，一点一点的发展起来，然后呢，成为一个就是在这么实际上从2战之后，它就成为了最强盛的国家了。那也就是到2战的话，也就是不到200年。这种情况下，它能够达到发展到如此高的水平，确实是值得感慨的。我们也看到，就是说他从初期的那个大陆军的那种服装啊，还属于模仿那个英国的那种制服，而现在呢，他已经完全是就是自成一套的这种东西。所以说，感觉这么短的时间内，能让一个国家从一个弱小的殖民地发展成为一个世界最强的国家，而且它又变得幅员辽阔，这是确实值得感慨。我自己确实有点这种时光穿梭的这种感觉。
是啊，我也有同感。就是刚才提到这个军事装备方面啊，确实我们今天因为它是陆军的这样的一个大的阅兵，所以我们没有看到什么空军或者海军的装备啊。你像我从小的时候，我可能更喜欢空军飞机和军舰更多一点啊，看着很大嘛，无论是潜艇还是导弹还是这个驱逐舰也好。那陆军的装备相对来说就是坦克，我们今天主要看到的史派克啊、M1埃布兰主战坦克，包括 M109啊，包括海马斯。那像空军方面，像 F-22、F-35啊，我们都没有看到啊。不过以后还有机会。其实，如果各位朋友在美国的话，美国有很多的这个叫是 Air Show， 像佛罗里达、加州、纽约啊，像 F-22、F-35战斗机都会来。所以相信啊，在纽约的朋友啊，以后还有很多机会看到很多这个美国先进的这些武器装备。回到这个现场的氛围来说，我个人是感觉就是非常轻松啊，就像一个美国人开 party 一样，或者嘉年华的这种感觉。不知道马克是不是也是相似的感受？
对啊，是啊。我觉得就是说，从川普担任总统以后，他就是例行改革嘛，就是不论是这个联邦政府也好，还是这个军队当中，进行了大量的改革。实际上这个事情呢，也激发了很多人参军的这个热情和愿望。所以今年那个美国陆军的这个征兵工作，提前4个月就达到了目标。而以前跟去年同期相比，去年的话，这一整年的话都还最后征兵还差了10%左右，但是今年的话，提前了4个月就完成了整年的征兵目标。所以说他们实际上来说能看出，美国这个在这个军队那个改革的过程当中，实际上来说激发了更多人的这个爱国的热情和这个参军的热情。这个呢，我觉得对美国来说是一个好事，就是它增强它的战斗力，而且呢，就是从大家愿意参军的这一角度来说，那也说明美国人他并没有泯灭这个就是要维持这个世界和平的这种愿望。当然，他也是因为各种政治氛围和各种原因，他原来不愿意参加军队，但是能看得出来。实际上，美国陆军的征兵是比较困难的，历史上来说就是这样。实际上，美国4大军种嘛，陆海空还有那个海中作战队，现在又增加了天空军、太空军， 而实际上来说，在所有的兵种当中，海军陆战队据说是征兵最容易的，因为美国人比较崇尚这个英雄主义，而海军陆战队的给人的感觉是虽然说非常苦，但是呢，它也非常的强壮，非常的具有那种就是英雄的那种概念。所以说呢，我听他们讲，就是海军陆战队实际上是招兵最容易的。但是呢，陆军实际上是最难的。但是呢，没想到今年陆军却最早的提前完成了任务，这个是让我觉得挺具有那个就是感到挺意外的。但同时也觉得美国人对于这个军队的热爱还是没有降低的。
确实是这样。如果你作为美国人的话，你现场听到这大家高呼 USA USA， 你这个情绪会被调动起来。那我们现在看到又是军乐队。现在看到夕阳已经西下整个夜空笼罩着首都华盛顿 DC。今天晚上的烟火表演和军乐队的表演将作为最后的尾章奉献给大家。
I wear the same branch insignia as the soldiers who crossed the Delaware. Before there was a nation, there was an army. the cost.
I serve because unity is worth the fight.
I carry that legacy forward every time I put on this uniform.
Both of my grandfathers served in the Second World War.
今天晚上的烟火看来在1812序曲的音乐中啊告一段落了那夜幕已经笼罩了华盛顿 DC 我们今天啊走过历史，从美国独立战争到美国内战从列克星顿到约克城从越南到朝鲜，我们也看到了支奴干直升机、阿帕奇直升机、M1主战坦克、M2布莱德利步兵战车对我而言这是一个全新的体验，因为这也是我第一次看到美国的阅兵我其实去年的时候去这个美国西点军校参加他们这个7月4号也就国庆日的这个仪式，他们也是有一个小型的阅兵然后也有军乐团，给我的感觉和这次很相似。就美国它的军队是非常和民众是非常贴近的。你像西点军校作为一个军事重地吧，就是说普通的民众你只要带着你的这个驾照、美国身份，你都是可以进入去参加这样的典礼的。而且西点军校他们的一些军乐团呢，他们会定期到周边的社区比如说新泽西，比如说美国这个纽约的布鲁克林，他去演出，这样就拉近了这个距离。其实我们今天看这个游行，我的感受也是这样的，就一点也不严肃，也没有太多距离感就好像就是说我搬了个小凳子跑到路边上去看这么一样。我相信这个马克因为在美国也生活了很多年，也有这个比如说这个7月4号的游行，或者是劳动节的游行，可能也有类似的感受吧。
对，是。实际上，我的也有挺多朋友也有在这个美军当中服役的，那么有服役的比较长的，甚至也有参加过这个就是伊拉克战争还有阿富汗战争的，那也有比较服役比较短的。那么我从他们当中也听到了很多。那他们的一个就是，特别是中国大陆的人来美国就加入到我们那个美军当中的时候，他一个最大的感受呢，就觉得这像是一个加入一个公司，就好像是一个就好像是进了一个大公司而已。就是说他并不是感觉的是一种军队，就是他什么都要束缚你。但在美国的军队当中，他实际上也是相当自由的。虽然说他加入军队当中，他有很多就是要经过什么体能考试经过大概6个月的这个新兵营的那个就是筛选就是如果说你能够通过所有的考试以后，才有可能成为一个正式的士兵。但是呢，你加入其中以后，实际上它有很多选择，它并不像大家想象的这种就像每天都被管得死死的，还要政治学习什么的，它实际上什么都没有。而是说，当然作为军队来说，它要有纪律，它是有规章有制度，它是一定要遵循的。但是这个除此之外，他们是有很多灵活的选项的，就包括它就像你那个在一个大公司里边，它有很多职位你可以去申请。就是你可以不满，就是对于你现在这个职位你觉得不是很满意的话，你可以去申请一个新的职位。它内部的有那种就像招工网站一样，还有很多哪些地方什么职位空缺了，它都可以在内部网站当中看到的。然后呢，如果说他想要离开，想要换一个新的环境的话，可以申请新的职位。 所以给他当时很多人的感觉跟我说的感觉就是说，他就像是一个公司一样的那种感觉，就是在这个里边，他并没有那种巨大的压力，并没有说但是他时间长了以后，他们实际上说对这个企业，相当于是对这个企业，他有一种热爱感，或者他有一种自豪感。就这个呢，实际上来说，我觉得这是美军跟那个就是中共的那种军队的一个很大的不同。就是说，它实际上来说，当然军队是为了打仗那个设计的，但是呢，它的真正的这个整个的这个体制内部呢，它还是充满人性化的。这个呢，实际上让美军呢，它能够为什么这么强大，而且生命不息，这个也跟这个其中有关系。就是说，他在这个加入这个军队，实际上来说，不光是就是想要奉献这种感觉，实际上美国他不讲你为我们服务了嘛 ，service， 但同时呢，这个军队也要回报给你。这样的话，给你相应的这种福利和待遇，同时呢，也给你一个选择职务和选择未来这个就是未来这个职业生涯的这种权利。所以这个呢，我觉得是一个非常优秀的，或者非常那个就是非常好的，就比较人性化的一个体制和制度。
是啊，美国这个军队给学生给这个就士兵的待遇还是比较好的，包括这个学费啊。因为我知道有一些朋友就是说他去军队服役完了以后，他去上学，上完学以后他可能再回到军队，然后之后毕业。你像其实你在美国军队里服役过，你到美国社会上找工作，其实是非常给你加分的啊，因为很多人愿意招军队出来的，因为你的执行力在那里啊，你说了你就要去做，对吧？不像有的人可能说，这不愿干那不愿干，事情很多。所以我觉得这个美国它这个军队形成了，它已经融入这个美国的文化之中了。我今天我看下来，我个人感受比较深的就是那个最后这个西点军校方阵，就是最后它有这个西点军校，还有这个弗吉尼亚军校，再加上这个塔木，就是这个德克萨斯农机。你看那些学生，他们都是未来美国的军官，其实他们的方阵相对来说是最为齐整的啊，因为他们可能就是比较年轻，然后纪律性更好一点啊。他们这可能也是未来美国陆军的希望。你像这个弗吉尼亚军事学院，像这个中国以前著名将军孙立人就是从这里毕业的啊，包括这个现任的参联总长，他也是从这里毕业的啊。西点军校就是因为很近嘛，我也经常去，所以看到这些年轻的学生，就觉得这个心里就是非常高兴。我不知道马克，你这场这个大的阅兵下来，对哪个方阵或者对哪个环节印象最深刻呢？
对，我实际上说对于这个有一些这个南北战争这部分，实际上我自己的印象比较深刻。因为什么？在这个南北战争当中，实际上双方都进行了一个就是殊死的那个战斗，但是呢，其结果呢，最后就是一个和解的结果。虽然说北方胜利了，但是呢，他并没有清算这个南方的军队的所有的人，反而就说变成了一个民族大和解。最后的结果当然是，虽然说这个南方失败了，但是呢，实际上南方的这个包括很多将军呐，我们到处现在还有很多地方都能看到他们的雕塑，而且呢，就像包括他的军校啊，也被完整的保留下来，并没有把他们进行清算。我觉得这是一个很了不起的这个一个就是精神吧，就是这具有相当的包容性。同时呢，就说你即使再反对我，甚至让我失去那个付出了巨大的代价，但是呢，我也不会去因此而恨你。所以这是我觉得是个美国民族非常的这个优秀，同时他的生命力很强的这一点。即使说打仗就是付出了血的代价，但是呢，其结果呢又是一个好的结果。这个呢，我觉得这是其他国家很难做到的。
是你刚刚提到这个南北战争啊，就是我相信很多朋友都有感慨，包括最后这个南军的这个总司令罗伯特里向这格兰特将军投降的时候，当时这个格兰特将军就给南军的条件就是所有人放下武器都可以回去，就是说只要不违反法律，就是过去的事情就过去了。然后那个罗伯特里就加了一条要求，说让他们保留马，因为马呢，你首先你要回去，你需要人力，然后另外马本身是比较贵重的一个东西嘛。然后格兰特就立刻答应。所以其实南北战争最后的结束是在一个有点惺惺相惜的，然后又有点向和解的方向发展的这么一个氛围中结束了。当然最后整个南北的大和解是以林肯总统被刺杀作为一个这个高潮，但是最后双方还是走向了和解。包括最后罗伯特里最后甚至当时的这个总统想要去判他就叛国罪，也是格兰特站出来以自己辞职 为要挟，就也不是说要挟吧，要求就是说不要去审判罗伯特里。然后罗伯特里其实本身也是非常有人格魅力，代表那个时代旧时代军人的那种勇敢啊、荣耀、忠诚的那样。因为他本身不支持奴隶制，但他因为是弗吉尼亚人，而自己的家乡弗吉尼亚选择了南方。当时他是很受他的老上司，也就斯考特的赏识。斯考特是美墨战争时候起来的嘛。罗伯特里如果不走的话，他就是北军的总司令，但是他最后来到了南方。所以我们通过今天的这个美国的大阅兵啊，就有看到了这个美国的未来的希望西点军校，有看到了美国历史的过去独立战争包括越战，包括韩战，包括一战、二战，还看到了美国的未来无论是西点军校、弗吉尼亚军校的学生，还是那些无人机、无人狗那些装备都向我们展示了一个美国这个国家的走向。我相信各位观众朋友们在过去3个小时一定会比较享受这样的一次阅兵。它和中共或者俄罗斯、朝鲜的阅兵不一样，但是带给我们的是美国的这样的一个文化和美国这样的一个精神。那今天的节目因为时间关系呢，就到这里。今天节目是由我和马克为大家带来的，欢迎大家继续关注新唐人的其他节目。那我们之后再会。
好，谢谢大家，再见。
谢谢大家。